Hi, this is Jamie, and welcome to Sci-Fi Vision Presents Fandom Access for December 22nd. Welcome to Julie and Scarlett. We're going to be deep diving, whatever you want to call it, breaking down the episode of the third episode of the first season, Choosing Day, as part of our rewatch. So welcome if you're here, and thank you for coming. And I see we already have some people in the chat. Hello. I'm trying to multitask and get this YouTube video open and make sure everything's set up, but I think we're good. So hello, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing okay, Jamie. How are you?
I'm good. Still hurting after falling yesterday. I told you I'd probably be complaining. I still hurt a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's worse the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, it tends to be.
I hope it feels better soon. Yeah, I'm not feeling so great myself, but it's a good distraction. From is always a good distraction.
Yeah, it's definitely it definitely is a good distraction. I was reading, I'm sorry, I'm like not saying anything because I was trying to read what you had written me. You had texted me before. I probably should somewhere put the Discord link in the description. I don't know if I have it in the description of my video. I actually don't think I do. I probably should. That's a good thing.
Yeah, you can always edit that in later. Yeah, definitely add that in later. You can always edit.
It always changes though. That's the thing that confuses me is you can't, like, even though I have it set to not expire, it still like generates a new one each time. I don't know. So I still don't understand half of Discord.
As long as you make sure you select one that never expires, it doesn't matter that it's different every time you add one in. It'll still work every time.
Okay, cool. Well, there we go then. It should be right then. I'm just typing it in the description as I'm talking. But anyway, thank you everybody for coming. If you're here, please, if you haven't, take a minute to like and subscribe the channel and make sure you check out Julie's channel as well, which is in the description of the video. And I also, if I did it correctly, added the Discord link. It should save. So if people can join the Discord, because we have the rewatch party every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, followed by, of course, the stream on Sundays, because we did it last night. So I'm just making sure it's up there. And I'm not doing a great job at multitasking tonight, but we'll get there. But anyway. So Choosing Day. You said this is your favorite episode, Julie?
It's up there. Like it is. It might just be my favorite of the whole series, just because of Jade. It has some of my favorite Jade moments in the entire thing. So I do love this episode. Yeah,
I do as well.
I was gonna say Jade's an asshole in this episode, but I like him too. He's always been my favorite character. So
yeah. I mean, he was an asshole, but he was such a hilarious, charming, charismatic asshole. And by the end of it, he had completely won me over. Like it was like a journey throughout the episode. He wore me down by the end. I was completely sold by the funeral, not the funeral, by the choosing ceremony.
Oh
scene.
no, Frank, don't go.
That was it. That was it.
Yeah. He's always making me laugh. I'm interested, having watched the rewatch, to see kind of how he changes, because I never really thought about it.
Oh yeah,
because you know what's going to happen and everything, but to see once he starts his personality, I guess, starts changing, which I'm interested to see, because the only thing you really see at the end of this one is him getting all upset. So
right. But yeah, he does go through a metamorphosis for sure. He grows a lot. You see that he already has feelings for other people by the way he breaks down over his friend in this episode, but he's still very self-centered and arrogant, and you see that changing over time, and him starting to care about the other people in the town, like Tian Chen, by the end of the season of season 1. And so yeah, he goes through a lot.
He cares about Julie too. Like he worries that she should be going to the prom and stuff and not having to worry about the stuff in Fromville.
Yeah. I remember when he said that, I was a little surprised that he was being a little, not quite as selfish, I guess, for a moment anyway.
And that whole line with Tan Chen, they come with you when you go. That was so touching. That scene about talking about her husband who passed away, and he looked like he was going to cry. Like, it was a beautiful moment. So he undergoes a lot of growth in a short period of time. So like he's a very well-rounded character. He's not just there. I love that he's not just there for comic relief. There's so much more to him.
Right. I like though that he always, as much as he's trying not to be quite as much of an asshole, he's still himself. Like he does change some. Like you're right, he grows, but he's never not Jade. Like he doesn't pretend. You know what I mean? Like he's still acts like Jade, which is what makes it funny, I think. Anyway.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Even in season 3. He's still butting heads with Jim, and he's still being arrogant and swearing in front of Ethan. Like he can't help it, but he cares more about people. So
he's still getting more social skills.
Yeah.
He still calls Jim Teacup though.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's like in a lovable way. The last time he calls him Teacup.
With love.
Yes, it's with love. Teacup, you're a genius. Yeah.
That reminded me, I did see one thing in here when you're talking about Jim, and I don't know, it's so early on. I don't know that they would have written season 3 when they're at this point in season 1, but it stuck out to me now that we know what happens. There's a whole conversation, I think it was with Cautry, when later on when Jim and Tabitha are talking to him, and when they're talking about like, this is what happens when you break the rules. I don't know why, it just made me start thinking about like the Man in Yellow and him, the conversation they have at the very end, it kind of like bookends it a little bit, because it did sort of start with that. Like he's learning now that there's certain things you don't do, and he doesn't listen.
Yep.
Yeah, and in that conversation they also have he says if you fall into a hole, which seems to be like kind of like a Tabby thing. He said like, you never know when, because he was like relating from Ville to people that live around earthquakes. You never know when the earth's going to open up and swallow you.
Oh, I missed that part. I didn't hear the whole part. Like now that you're saying that, I see the parallels with later, but what happens later. But yeah, he did say about you have to adapt and becomes your new normal or whatever he says, something to that effect.
Yeah.
But I might not. Dieter's saying it sounds like an all Jade stream. It's just Jade right now. We'll move on to other
Jade and more buttons unbuttoned.
Yeah, Jade's the best part of it right now. So.
It's a very Jade centric episode. I wish we had more of these. I need more.
It is. We talked about before how they said to, go back. I think it was you, Scarlett, who said somewhere it says the first 3 episodes have a lot of the clues, I think.
Yeah, somewhere, but I don't have a link to that.
I know. We need to investigate and find it.
Interview. I never saw it.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't either. I've only gone by what you said, but But if you think about it, like even this episode is still like the first 2 were more I know obviously only the first one's the pilot, but the first 2 were more the pilot in the sense that it was continued. This wasn't continued, but this episode is still explaining, how things work, because we hadn't really saw the other characters get introduced to the town until now, like Jade, for instance. We did. We saw Julie,
but he was knocked out most of the time.
I'm sorry?
He was knocked out most of the time.
That's true. That was true. But now we see sort of it from a different perspective, So that's kind of cool. But I love that Donna just like doesn't have time for him. She's just like, you're one of those people. Oh, I don't want to deal with you. Like, oh, no. They'll figure it out. No, I don't know. I like their interactions in this one. I think a lot of it's funny. But I tried to take some notes. I don't know how detailed they are, but one of the things I have at the beginning, I was going to mention, and I don't even know if it means anything, but I saw it and it stuck out and I couldn't figure out exactly what it was supposed to be. But when Boyd's laying there in the bed, he's got like these weird orange beads on I don't know if it's a necklace or a keychain, or it kind of reminded me of a rosary, but it wasn't. It was like these big orange beads. I marked that down. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's probably not even important, but that was one of the things I
Me and Julie talked about it on our live, and
Oh, you
I
did?
thought they were rosary beads from maybe another country because he said
Oh,
he's
they
got
could
them
be.
all
That's
over the
true.
place. And it there are like Tibetan ones that are really kind of cool because when you touch the stones, they change colors with your oils over time, and it looked like a little prayer, like prayer beads like that he might say before he goes to bed.
Yeah.
Not
That's
necessarily a rosary, but just little prayer
right.
beads.
Right. Yeah, because that's what that made me think of. But I mean, it's not like a normal, rosary. But then again, that could be something even just they made it the town, like maybe Father Cautry made it. Like they don't exactly have the tools to make,
Yeah.
tiny rosary beads. But I don't know. It was just interesting because I noticed it sitting there. And if it is that, it kind of makes sense because a lot of this episode is about Boyd kind of coming to terms with with having to send Frank to his doom. So yeah. Let's see. If you guys think of things, please jump in. I'm just like going through and trying to read my notes and find things until people in the chat have comments.
Well, I initially kind of felt depressed watching this episode when I watched it the first time and even the second time, just because of all the sadness around Frank and feeling sympathy for him, and like that's really heavy stuff. But eventually, I just I kind of got used to it, and now on this rewatch, it's like I'm used to that part, so I can just enjoy the Jade stuff, and I find that it's really brilliant how the show is able to juggle and balance that very heavy subject matter of Frank and how discussing how this place broke him, how he lost his family because he let this place get in his head, and talking about Christmas with his daughter. He used to be a good dad before they got there, and then but balancing that with the levity of the Jade scenes. It's amazing. You could go from wanting to cry in 1 minute to laughing hysterically the next minute. It's really amazing how the show does that, juxtaposes those two sides to this.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of heavy stuff in this episode. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it does totally keep switching back and forth. That's why it's kind of bad because it's like it in a way makes it even funnier when Jade does what he does. But it's awful, but it still makes you laugh. Maybe more so now that we know what's going on than we than the first time, because I think the first time you're like cringing a bit, maybe. But
yeah.
Dieter say when Tian Chin hits Jade when she smacks him in the head. That was funny.
Oh God, yeah, with the whisk.
Yeah.
Like the first and only time they have a buffet in the diner.
Yeah, that's true. They don't do that later. Well, he's just kind of ignoring everybody. You think that, I mean, doesn't he at one? I can't remember. I'm thinking for some reason to remember him being the one to say it, but I feel like he's not reading the room and realizing that nobody else is okay with this. I mean, he really towards the end of the episode is like, "Oh, I'm going to sue you. I'm done." He put his hands on me and is like flipping out, and it's like he's been screaming at people for the whole episode.
I know, right?
Yeah,
because he thought that Toby paid them all.
Yeah.
They're his employees.
Yeah. And he feels so self-important. He's like, you have no idea how badly you screwed up. I'm going to ruin you. I'm going to ruin all of you. Because he has the financial resources that he thinks that he could just sue them all into oblivion. He thinks he's still in the real world. And it's just that entitled attitude of his. So
definitely. It does kind of suck though to sell your company and get millions of dollars and then end up in this town before you get to enjoy it. It's like, it's kind of that irony.
Yep.
And I was going to say, thank you, Golden Child. I'm glad you like the picture. It's actually there in front of a television. You can't see it because it's blocked. I had made it a while ago, trying to get something to represent our podcast.
It's beautiful. And you designed that. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. It started out as an AI that I photoshopped and painted and stuff and messed with until I got something I was happy with.
That's so cool.
But I figure we're kind of slaves to the TV, I think, a little bit sometimes. So
yeah.
So it makes me think though too, because I was going to say about the raven, how there's a raven in there because it's in my other designs, but we've talked before, obviously, about the crows in this show, and I noticed, and I guess this has been commented on before because I looked it up to see, and it has been. But did you notice Cautry's what's it called? I think it's called a stole that he
Yes.
has around his neck. It
Yeah.
changes too, and I don't know if that was just like a mistake from the prop department or on purpose that it changes, but it definitely went from a sun on the one side to a moon, like it flip flopped. And I don't think that you could reverse it unless it was like a separate. I mean, they could have had two different costume pieces and they just used the wrong one by mistake. But it looks like
Yeah, I like to see pictures of that. I've never noticed.
yeah, I found, of course, I was gonna say I have a couple pictures, but they're on my phone. They're not where I can get them on the computer.
Yeah.
But it's got like a sun and a crow, and then on the other side it's got a moon and some trees. I'm gonna see if I can find it really quick while I'm talking. I probably won't be able
I mean,
to.
he could just have more than one.
Well, it's the same. It looks like the same one, but like the opposite sides. Well, that picture's kind of tiny. I was gonna say I found a picture, but it's really small. But we'll try and see. We shall try and see. You know what? I wonder if it would be easier for me to screen share some of these things rather than trying to every single time upload them to.
Yeah.
Discord, not Discord, to StreamYard.
It's much easier if you just screen share.
Let me see if I can do that here. Because if I did it on Discord, I could probably do it here, but I gotta find the picture.
Oh yeah. I never upload pictures. I only upload video clips that I want to reuse. So you just click a button. But yeah, I don't even do that anymore because even a short clip can get my video blocked now. So I don't even do clips right
now. Okay, wait. Maybe isn't there? I thought there was a screen share button. Where's it at though? Or is it under? Okay, maybe I can't do that because I don't remember how to do it. You'd have to tell me.
It's down the screen share. It's right down at the bottom. It says present.
Is it one of the layouts? Is that why I'm missing it?
It's underneath the like the video, like where all of us are. It's underneath there next to the mute and the start cam and settings. It says present.
Oh, it's on the name. Okay. It must be on each individual solo layout. I don't know if it's because I'm on the computer. It's not showing up the same way. I just see like a little 3 dots that say edit name and edit audio avatar. That's not.
Are you looking to the right? Or are you looking underneath, like, like where you mute yourself and?
Oh, down there. Okay. I see it. Yeah. Select window or screen. There. Allow. Can you see it now? There we go. Yay. Jamie did something right. Now, this is just one I pulled off of Google. So whoever took the picture, I'm borrowing it. Thank you. Sorry. It's
nice. I couldn't find one like that where you can actually see the whole thing. Cool.
Yeah, I just Googled it. I typed in Father Cautry stole and it came up. But I don't know if you can see my mouse hovering or not, but you can see there's like a little crow and a sun and then trees and then a moon and something else. I don't know if I can find the it looks like actually there is a flipped one. Let me see.
I mean, it'd be cool if it was an owl.
Yeah, there is the one that shows the other side, but it's really dark. It looks like the same person took it. Hold on, let me save it. I'm at least saving them and then just sharing the viewer. That seems to be easier than trying to figure out.
It could just be costuming. They could have just made 2 and they just made them different like that. They just flip flopped them.
Yeah, I'm just curious why they would have 2 different ones. You know what I mean? Because it has to be. Why is it not? It's showing the search. Now it's not showing it's not showing the option of that picture. That's weird. Hold on a second. I'm getting there. I'm just trying to figure out why it's not. Whoops, no, I don't want my camera on. That isn't what I want either.
Oh, no.
This is not what I want. Oh, wait, there it is. It for some reason, it wasn't updating. See, like, I don't think that it could, unless it's on the reverse side. Somebody said maybe it's on the reverse, and it looks like it could be. It's hard to tell. But it's got a talisman at the bottom, too, which is interesting.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the flip-flopping was intentional or not.
Yeah, the stitching almost looks different on the side.
Well,
like it could be flip. It could be flip.
It might be, but it's also might be the color, I think, because it looks like way darker than. Let me see if the like say
Yeah.
because the
Oh
lighting's
yeah,
way
that's true.
different.
Yeah.
But it does kind of look like it could be the reverse. I don't know. But anyway, that stood out
Yeah.
to me and I thought was interesting. So I just wanted
Oh.
to mention it why I thought about it
There's a
there.
mystery.
Yeah.
Many mysteries.
One of many, right?
Many, many.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's like, should I wear the moon on this side today or the moon on this side today?
I don't
Depends how
know,
I
but
feel.
that's that he wore it for the choosing ceremony. I'm curious when they do other things later, like if like when they have the
Mhm.
funeral, was he wearing it? I didn't think to check, but I would think he would have.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm taking a drink as I'm talking. But yeah. The other thing I just kind of highlighted some different things. The other thing I have marked is Jade mentions, because I put on the captions, and from what I could tell, it's an artist, so I don't know that it's important to anything, but he mentions the artist Giacometti.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that right, but
Yeah,
Giacometti.
Giacometti, yeah.
Mhm.
Giacometti, yeah. I don't know anything about his artwork to know if it's relevant to the show, but he did mention it. So.
He does a sculpture named the Chariot that me and Julie showed on ours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
I always thought he was like the Chariot tarot card, so it kind of made sense to me, like Jade was when everybody was doing the tarot card thing.
and apparently Jack Bender said in an interview recently that he loves that sculptor. He's a huge fan of that sculptor, so I'm sure that's why it found its way into the show. That Giacometti reference. Yeah,
it's probably
really,
otherwise not relevant. Although I do
Yeah.
know that he also made a sculpture called Spider, and there's like a huge spider.
Well, I think it was because he said it was his sculpture, Jade said, so I think it was just to denote he had enough money to buy one.
Oh, did he say it was it?
Yeah.
I thought he just said something like it's not. Oh, not quite my Giacometti. Yeah, I guess he
Mhm.
did probably mean it that way.
Yeah.
I didn't think it that way, but you're right. And then he steals.
And I assume it's kind of pricey because it's a pretty well-known sculptor.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, but you know, he's
symbol.
got the money. So at least he spent some of it, bought something, I guess.
Yeah, invested in art.
Asking how it's called a stole. I don't know. I googled it. I didn't know what it was called.
Well, it's just like a fur stole. It kind of fits the same.
Yeah,
Or
I
the-
guess that's true. When you have a fur. Yeah, I don't know. That's, I guess, a weird English word, but that's what it's called. So let's see. David's talking about the archetypes again, about showing Jade's hubris, the character trait of the magician archetype, who seeks to understand the world around them. Well, he's definitely trying to understand everything. And is that Jade, the bike Jade steals, or did you just randomly decide to put a bike on your?
Oh, it's a random bike, but it does look a lot like Jade's bike. Well, Clara's bike. I should say.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. Clara's bike. Yeah, I just happened to think about it because I was looking at your picture, but
yeah,
that is where he takes it. We also see the boy. Well, we saw it at the very end of the episode, but we see it more now. The boy in white. In this episode, when Ethan sees him, and Ethan mentions it to Victor, which Victor seems surprised that Ethan could see him, or if it's, I mean, he's guessing it's the same boy. He didn't actually describe him, but he's like saying, oh, he's always outside, so he assumes he lives there. Do you think there's like why do you think that he thinks that he's surprised by Ethan seeing it? I guess, do you think there's relevance to that? Is it just he thought he was the only one that could see it?
I think it's because he hasn't seen him in a long time, and the last time he saw, like, he kind of sees this as evidence that things are starting over again, like when he first saw the boy in white. He talks about this season how, when he saw the boy in white. Now his story on this kind of changes and his memory is off, but in season 1, he said that he first saw the boy in white around the time that the 2 cars came. And then that's when everything started to get worse, apparently, and we know how it ended. So since now he sees a new little boy is in town, and he personally hasn't seen the boy in white in a long time, but 2 cars just came again. There's a little boy who saw the boy in white just like Victor once did. So he sees this as evidence that things are starting again. And then it's not long after this, I think it might be at the end of the next episode, where he starts digging graves, saying, I wanted to be prepared this time. He knows that something's coming because that boy in white showed up again, and people are going to start getting massacred or something.
Yeah,
but it also almost seemed like he was jealous that he appeared to Ethan.
A little bit. Like he thought it was all his type of thing. Like he was the
Mhm.
only one that was special enough to see
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I don't know. Does he ever know that Sarah sees the boy in white or hears the boy? Does she see him or just hear him? I don't know if she sees him.
Well,
She
later
saw
on.
Did she?
Sorry, Julie.
she saw him and heard him in her head telepathically
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the season with Boyd, but Victor I don't think is aware of that at all. I think it's not till season
Then,
3 that
yeah,
they
in
find
season
that out,
3, yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Scarlett? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just curious what he would say if he knew that, because I don't think he does know it. That's why I was just thinking about that.
At this point, he doesn't.
But yeah, he almost seems like, this is his like he thought it was his private thing, and he was really shocked when that happened. But maybe that's why he decides to talk to Ethan too. Who knows? Because at first he's like not really opening up to Ethan, and then by the end of that, he's like, "Oh, I'm seeing how far the trees moved, or whatever it is that he says."
He was completely reticent, and then all of a sudden when he finds that out, now he wants to befriend Ethan. He kind of knows things are starting over again, and and just jumping ahead, we didn't get into episode 4 yet, but I mean he wants to be sure the boy in white's really back. So he takes Ethan and they go in the woods, they see the boy in white walking around. That's when he goes and digs a bunch of graves. He knows something bad's gonna happen now. Like, this is a bad omen. Not that the boy in white is bad, but he shows up when things start to get worse. Like 2 cars came, boy in white. Okay, things are going to get worse now.
I love, though, how Julie comes out and yells. She's like, "Don't talk to him. He's creepy." And then Ethan's like, "He's just talking about how far the trees move." And then she's like, "Yeah, that's totally normal."
Let me go back. Let me go back to Ellis's room and have him draw me as one of his French girls. I'll look at it as erotic art, but Victor's creepy.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm just saying.
No, I totally agree, and we'll get more to the once we get to the choosing ceremony. But I was trying to go somewhat in order. Let's see.
Understood.
Peter says, when Donna explains the town to Jade, that was awesome. When Donna says, "Yeah, that's why I said you're one of those." He says, "One of what?" She's like, "Oh, I don't want to deal with you." Because she even tells Kenny, she's like, "Oh, just let him run around outside." I don't have time.
Yeah, I really like Liz Sanders in that scene, because she's like, "I'm usually more cordial than this."
Yeah, first she swears at him and screams at him, and she's like, "Shut the fuck up!" And then she's like, "Sorry, I'm usually better than that, but you're waking everybody up." Yeah, in the middle of the night. Although, to be fair, I think most people, if they woke up strapped to a bed in the middle of the night, probably would yell as well. But he doesn't bother, like, asking nicely or trying to get untied per se, because he's just busy threatening her, so he kind of deserves it. Let's see. David says that Victor must have found out about Christopher and his mother being connected in a past life and repressed the trauma, but maybe learning that is what led to Victor causing the massacre. I've said before, I wish we knew more about the massacre. I mean, I had assumed for quite a while that second car was going to be, always that other person, like it was Tabitha, and then that one would have been Jade or Jade's past life or Christopher or whatever. But we talked about it, I know, before on here, that it sounds like he's talking about a secondary car, not his own car. So I don't know if it always is the two of them or not. Because I tended to before think it was Christopher and Miranda.
I do think that. I think that Victor is, I think Victor himself doesn't remember that he was in one of the 2 cars. So all he knows is that 2 cars came. He doesn't even remember he was in one. We know how much he forgot. He forgot a whole sister. So I think it makes sense that every time it's probably a version of Tabitha and Jade coming back in the 2 cars. That's why it's special that 2 cars have come. He says it's special. So
yeah, that's a good point. You can't always rely on what he says. That's part of the problem. It makes it hard to know what's real and what's not. And Dieter's agreeing that maybe Victor did something unwillingly that led to the massacre. We don't really know enough about what happened to know what caused it. Just that it happened. And then I'm guessing you're right with what you said. He's probably worried something like that will happen again, because he has no reason to believe otherwise, really. Oh, excuse me. Jeez. Let's see. I don't know. I tried to. I guess I like notice weird things. Like some of my notes are completely or probably irrelevant to anything, but I marked down what it was because it stood out. As I'm trying to look for any kind of clues to anything. Because I noticed that the bag Jim takes Ethan's clothes out has little trains on it,
Mm-hmm.
and his pajama has whales on it. I wrote that down. Like that's so not even important.
Oh, sharks.
Are they sharks? They look like whales.
Yeah.
Okay, sharks.
He doesn't like the itchy cowboy ones, which I think with the horse imagery, there's a lot of horse imagery I'm from.
Yeah. Yeah, he wanted his own. I wonder who they belong to. Like, were those Victor's pajamas, or was there another little boy we're unaware of?
Child's pajamas.
I guess they could have been the girls' pajamas, but
I bet they were his. I wouldn't be surprised. Like they were probably his. They were like hanging around Colony House. I'm sure he probably lived there this whole time, and yeah, I bet they were his.
Yeah, it could have been Victor's when he was little, definitely. The other thing is I had marked down is we always focus on the Chromonocle because that's the one that they mention all the time, but they mention another book here too, another character, the Grand Gulagog, which still sounds like nonsense, but
or something not great.
Yeah, it sounds. I don't
in
know.
history.
Me, but yeah, but Jim does mention that, and I also notice when they're doing their on the captions, it says otherworldly bird noise.
Yeah.
And that's where like I'm kind of like, it's probably just the people who wrote the captions put that, but you never know. Maybe they wanted it to sound like a bird, and then it started me thinking about the crows again, and I went off on a tangent.
Well, there's a bird on the cover of the book.
Oh, is there? Well, then that's probably why they're recreating that. I didn't really know as much as I noticed the other things. I didn't notice the cover of the book, but that's interesting. There's a bird in it because it could. I mean, we've talked about things manifesting it. I mean, maybe the birds are actually from the book. You never know.
Yeah, I think a lot of things are from children's stories. There's a lot of elements from different children's books, including like because I just got this from the library, the Magic Faraway Tree, and you've got like the Lake of Tears from another child's book.
Yeah,
there's a lot of like actual who knows how many of these kids in Printville, there's elements of Tuck Everlasting. It's like maybe all these children just had different books, and these different elements from these different books just manifested themselves in Printville over time.
Yeah, that makes me wonder if like when they did this, and this is something we probably should have asked too, like when they talk about their inspiration for things, like do these things, if they're coming from those stories you're talking about, like do they actually have meaning related to those stories, or is it possible that they just like those stories so they pulled the name from it and it has absolutely nothing to do with it,
Well, Tuck Everlasting has a whole lot to do with it.
Well, yeah, but I meant specifically like I guess the Faraway Trees may be the same thing in the books. I don't know because I haven't read it, but
yeah, I mean the Lake of Tears book has a character named Jasmine who has a raven, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Quite a few things with bird imagery in here. That's for sure. And
plus, they have to go after different gems. And when I think of gems, I think jade, jasper, the pearl that Abby has, and iron, like a lot of different like important metals and gemstones that they have to look for in the book. And it's a puzzle book where they have to solve a puzzle in order to get a gemstone to complete this thing.
Yeah,
like every chapter has a puzzle.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say because they've mentioned before, it's like one of his quests or whatever. I also noticed too, we talk about like the Chromonocle and about the Lake of Tears and those little puppets and stuff. I don't know if they were supposed to be the Chromonocle or that's two separate things, but I did notice that when they're making the sounds, Ethan says that she doesn't sound like that. I don't know. Yeah. I'm assuming when that's referencing that whatever bird is in the story is female, I guess.
Right. Yeah. I thought that was interesting. Like, how do you know how she sounds? But that whole scene with the Tabitha and Jim saying 2 Chromonockles for the cave, 2 Chromonockles for you. It felt like heavy foreshadowing that there's not just a female, that there's a female and a male, and they're going to be Tabitha and Jade, and they're going to be there, for him and for everybody, trying to solve this thing and get out of there, and on a journey, just like in the Chromanocle. Like each of them finds what you could consider like a figurative map, not a literal map, but each of them, they go on to find things in the storage room, which is like kind of like the cavern of the Lonely Dragon. And Tabitha finds a bracelet which is connected to her former self, and Jade finds Christopher's book full of symbols, which is connected to his former self. So it's kind of like, it's not a real map, but it's a connection to the past. And in that story, Ethan says that Chromanocle finds a map, and then she's not lost anymore in that cavern of the Lonely Dragon. So I just think it's so fitting. The way they did this scene with Tabitha and Jim, like, it just felt so foreshadowing. Like, it felt so much like foreshadowing of that.
Yeah.
And not that Jim is going to be one of them, but there's going to be a male.
That's one of my favorite scenes of Jim, when he's doing the whole bird.
It was cute.
Excuse me.
He's got his all. I mean, that actor put his all into it. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. You're right. That was
cute.
cute. Trying to make him laugh. Even Julie's kind of like, she's looking at him like she knows they're trying to help him, but she's kind of like over it, I think, at this point. But no, that's cute.
Yep.
Let's see, and then they have about the diner.
But I also took down the name of the author, Kay Dillon, in case future Julie is running around, call herself Kay.
Gay.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Kay.
Kay Dillon?
Kate.
It's the author of the book.
Okay, I wasn't sure you said Kate. Okay.
Kay.
Okay, we'll have to look.
K-A-Y.
Okay, why? Okay, we'll have to look out if she changes her name, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. David's saying, I think Victor caused the last massacre inadvertently, and Ethan has definitely caused the next one unless it's averted. Well, I guess we have to hope it's averted, or all these people are going to die. So we're hoping it's averted.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Which I think we said before, like, if they don't avert it, there's kind of no point, because I don't think they're going to kill everybody in the story. At least I hope not. CT5 is saying they wants to know how Victor, he or she, sorry, I said he, I'm not sure if it's a he, wants to know how Victor moved all those cars and bodies by himself at such a young age. Yeah. I'm assuming maybe the boy in white helped with that. They never did explain that, but I think that's one of those things you just have to kind of let go, or it'll drive you nuts.
Well, when you get hungry.
Well, he did pick their pockets at any rate and go through and take all their stuff, even if he didn't get rid of them. He took stuff from them. Let's see. David says Victor should have made a train of cars on the road to see where it loops. Yeah. Oh, was that what he was saying? Yeah, like make it drive in a circle with a giant ball of string. That is a good idea. Like, you think about when somebody does that and takes like a piece of string through the woods or something to find their way. It would be curious to find out how it loops back around and connects, if it does, or if it's really like, I mean, for all we know, it could be going in and out of some kind of portal or something, and it could not really, I don't know, like maybe if they took it and looped it, like it wouldn't connect back in the same place. Like it would just keep going on forever, but not like overlapping, if that makes sense. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Weird. But there's that. Let's see. Then we have about Sarah coming to the diner. Oh wait, I know what I skipped. The glass when Tian Chen breaks the glass and Sarah cleans it up, and we had that. Okay, good. We had that conversation last week about Sarah and the broken glass before. I'm not sure. I'm curious if like this glass is kind of connected to that, or this is more just about like Tian Chen breaking more than anything, and that Sarah is not, that she's upset about what happened and feels bad about what she did more than anything.
Yeah, no, she definitely does.
Yeah, I mean, it's so close to the I would say slight monologue, because I know her brother has a few lines about the broken glass. It's so close to that. It's hard for me to not think that it's about her.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
I guess my question is, if it's about Sarah, though, why is Tian Chen the one that breaks it? Like, how does it connect, I guess, the two of them, sort of?
Well, she broke it, but Sarah's cleaning up the shards, and her monologue was about shards. like cutting
Right.
her.
Right, and Tan Chen is the one who gets cut, and so it's like Sarah's the broken person who caused Tan Chen to be hurt, to lose her husband and get cut. So like I feel like that's what it was trying to symbolize.
That makes sense. Dieter's saying, which makes sense. Maybe Victor moved the cars with someone that entered after the massacre. I mean, there could have been more adults there after. I think the problem is we don't have a clear timeline. Like we know there was 40 years or whatever, but we don't know when the massacre happened. I'm assuming, just going by like what we've seen of Christopher and everything, that he was a kid when it happened. But we don't really, I don't know that we really know that, do we? Or are we just assuming that? Well, we've seen the flashback, I guess, with him around all the bodies as a kid. So I guess we do. So yeah, I guess the question is, how soon after the massacre did new people show up? Because he said something about that implied he was alone for that many years. So I'm not sure somebody showed up right after the massacre.
Yeah, that's kind of weird because Elgin and Julie did find that box of 80s clothes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird if the massacre happened in 1978, it seems weird that people would have like a Fame sweatshirt. I mean, even though Harold danced in Fame. That's the obvious reference they're trying to make with a Fame sweatshirt. But there's a Fame sweatshirt from something that's obviously 80s and the stuff that Elgin and Julie found. So to me, I feel somebody from the 80s got there, but Victor's unreliable narrator, so I am not 100%.
I mean, he said he was alone for a long time, and we can't be sure how long that is, a long time. But I mean, I just kind of go by what Scott McCord said in an interview, that John Griffin, when he got the part, told him that Victor was alone for many, many years, and the boy in white's friendship helped him survive. And that came from Scott and John Griffin. I believe that. But I mean, it couldn't be that many years if there were people from the 80s. But I mean, I guess,
some things.
Well, if it's late 70s, it could be, even if it was like 86, 87, that's 10 years.
Yeah, that's a long time, especially for a kid.
That's a long time. Yep.
Right. Well, they said somewhere, I think we got 30 or 40 years from it. But the other thing is, too, is there's different versions of alone. Like, it may have more meant like he was alone, like there was no one for him to talk to, no kids there, rather than like literally 100% alone, too. Because I think it's Victor. Isn't it Victor that says he was alone that long? Or something to that effect. Like, so there could have been maybe a couple adults there or something that came in the meantime, but since he didn't talk to him or didn't connect with anybody, like he still felt alone. I don't know. I'm just trying.
Yeah, I mean, I can see you saying alone is a subjective term.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's a good point. Even John Griffin saying that to Scott, it could mean, it doesn't mean he was literally alone for many, many years. Maybe some people came to town, but he was alone as in he had no family there, and the boy in white's friendship helped him survive. So it could work that way too.
I mean, the way they use alone with Kenny, it's like very similar.
Yeah. I just, because it seems to me impossible for a kid to learn how to survive with nobody to teach it. Well, I mean, he had the boy in white, but still to be there that many decades alone, like it's one of those things that just doesn't make sense. And again, is it one of those things that just aren't going to make sense, or are we taking it the wrong way? Or does it just not matter and you're just supposed to move on? I mean, it's hard to tell, but they did say that people experience time different. And like I said before, I think when they said that, they were joking. But I mean, for all we know, maybe it's accurate. I mean, maybe that's the other thing, too. A little kid could have been there, if you think about it, like could have been there a couple years alone, but it probably felt like decades to a little kid if they were alone. So there's also that possibility. Like, even if time doesn't travel differently, like maybe he just it felt like that. I don't know.
I mean, it isn't like he has a calendar or something to measure things by, other than just walking between the trees and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know. Seeing the sun rises and sets, but there's no seasonal changes.
Yeah, you would
I
forget
think.
not be able to keep track. No, yeah, you're right. We didn't get seasonal changes till now.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how one would measure time.
Yeah, no, I think you'd start to forget how long it had been. So it definitely could maybe have just felt longer than it was. But Dieter's right. I think Victor mentions at one point something about that he moved the cars all to that place. And that makes you wonder, too, like somebody had to have helped him. I don't think he'd know how to drive as a little kid to move them. Not enough to get them there and not wreck them all.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And David, yes, I think they did mention that they were there before he got there. I think he said something about that.
Yeah, he said that he found a lot more cars that were already there that when he got there, and they were further down. Like we just didn't get to see them, but yeah, there were. He said there were a lot more.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. We got, I think it's because there's some other live streams going on right now, or not live streams, watch parties going on, because I think there's a watch party right now. I'm just wondering because I know like the chat, either that or maybe everybody's just quiet tonight. I don't know. There's a lot of people here with us because I can see how many people are here,
Yeah.
but
There's a lot of
they're not-
Christmas. There's a lot of Christmas watch parties going on where people are watching Christmas
yeah,
films.
yeah. There's
Tis the
just-
season.
People are not as talkative right now as they normally are, but no, you're right. I'm just looking at my stuff and not knowing if I have enough. I'm like, I need more notes. I need more things to pull out of here. They talk about, or Jade talks about the ultimate escape room. That's why that'd be so cool if there was a From escape room, wouldn't there?
Oh yeah.
But CT5, that's a good idea. It says Story Walker Julie drove all the cars. Yeah, she knows how to drive now a bit. So
Yeah, she learned.
Yeah, maybe she did it.
That'd be funny.
and it's gonna become one of those timey-wimey things. We'll just blame everything on Julie. She did it in the future, so that makes sense.
They're just gonna CGI future Julie in a bunch of scenes.
Yeah, because so far we haven't seen her going back, but we definitely need to look out for it. But I noticed too that Jade makes a point of saying that there are a couple flaws in the logic.
Yeah.
And that makes me think like of what we're talking about even now. Like, are some of those flaws intentional, or is it just because things are so weird that they don't necessarily have to all connect and make sense? I mean, if some of these things are potentially coming from dreams and things like that, they don't always make sense. So
yes, exactly.
Maybe a little bit of it I can.
And he even mentions that in this. Like in this statement, because
he says he calls it a mystical nightmare and says nightmares don't usually serve breakfast.
Yeah, and I think that he's more right than he realizes. I think maybe things do manifest from dreams or nightmares, and that's how like the livestock turned up in the woods, and so maybe he's actually more right than he thinks, and it's kind of like it was manifested there. So I love how he pointed that out, that nightmare reference that comes up so much.
He said nightmares quite a few times between this episode and the last episode.
Yeah.
At least I think it was the last episode. It's possible it was this one from last night because I kept thinking certain things happened. I'm like, no, Jamie, that was when you watched it yesterday.
Yeah.
As I'm watching it again, I'm like, wait, that didn't happen yet. That's what's bad about rewatching it the next day. Getting all my timelines confused. But yeah, Kenny makes a point of saying that they don't know where the animals come from. I swear somebody said something about they came out of the woods, but I don't know where that came from. But I still think the place provided them so people didn't die, because that would like defeat the whole purpose.
Well, Boyd found some of them in the woods.
Did he? Okay, that's right. It must have been Boyd that said.
I guess they probably throw some out from time to time, like the vegetables on the lake.
Yeah.
So that people can stay alive, so they can torture them.
David says, I reckon in the original cycle that the town massacre happens not too long after the child sacrifices. So the season 4 finale should be at the same point in the cycle. I have to wonder, though, if it's after the sacrifices, we're talking about the original cycle, not like now, but the original cycle, all the people in the town are like immortal at that point, though, right? Except for the children. So who would they massacre?
Wait a minute. The original cycle. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, so like the season 4 finale should be the same point in the cycle. Yeah, I'm confused about that.
Yeah, I get what he's saying. Yes, we might be coming around to the same point in the cycle, but I'm talking about like the original cycle. If they sacrificed the children, they became immortal. So I'm not sure who there would have been there to massacre at that point. So I don't,
unless it was this appearance of the children and not the whole town.
Maybe. I don't know.
There were
Just makes me-
some Fromville residents that were against her or something and got slaughtered. I mean,
or maybe
yeah.
they sacrificed him, they became immortal, and then the two cars came, and then more people came, and then that was the massacre.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I figure. Like it was, and I wouldn't be surprised if this happened so long ago that it was like two boats showing up the first time, two
Yeah.
boats full of people.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
wonder about the votes. Okay, let's see. CT5 is saying she could also be the one that dragged the tent and not the giant spider. Oh, Julie, yeah. I don't know that she could drag a tent with two adults in it, but
She can if she's a spider. If she's
yeah, I was
a
gonna say,
spider.
if there means there's not a spider, I'll buy it just because I don't want to see a giant spider.
Yeah.
Julie became a spider, and Randall became a cicada. I don't know what Mari's going to become. Maybe a beautiful butterfly, because there's a lot of butterflies in From.
Yeah, I noticed because I was thinking of you because you use Julie, because you use a butterfly in your thing on Discord, but I noticed the other Julie had on a butterfly shirt in this episode. It had little tiny butterflies all over it.
Yep.
Yes, she did. Yes, and they were all blue, yellow, and red, which are the three central colors of the show that they just love to put everywhere. And it's interesting, like how they put this in the show. And like it was on Ethan's bag. There were blue, yellow, and red trucks and cars, and Juliet are butterflies, and butterflies are symbolic of transformation too.
Yeah,
like they put these things in the show for a reason. Like it all has significance. I love how they do that.
I did notice in the scene later during the choosing ceremony when Frank's talking, there was quite a few people, including him, that were dressed in blue. I'm just bringing that up because you said that, and I don't even know if it was relevant or not, but I noticed it. So
yeah,
I'll mark that out. Dieter says
Clara always wears a blue shirt. She's
right.
Always,
Yeah,
maybe she's trying to fight the red shirtness.
I will never wear blue, and therefore I won't die, right?
Yeah.
Dieter says we still don't know why the trees are moving. Victor is counting steps in this episode as the pocket universe dying, like collapsing. I think that's a possibility, but we also don't for sure know that the trees are actually moving, though. Like that's what Victor seems to think. He never actually confirms it one way or another.
He measures it by his stride, and if he's always been measuring it, his stride has changed.
Yeah, I know. As he gets older, his feet gets bigger. So
yeah, so I'm not sure how accurate that is.
Yeah. I don't know. But he never actually says it does, because he tells Ethan he'll keep him looped, which does potentially seem important. But he never actually says it. So yeah. Let's see. They're talking about the goat. Let's see. Season 4 is likely the same point the massacre happens, referring to the cave painting. There's a sacrifice, then Smiley, then a house surrounded by red figures is next. Yeah. I know that we had talked about the red figure or whatever in the cave. I never noticed until it was on one of E-Man's streams when he was talking to the producers and he asked him about that. Like he had like showed like that in the screen capture of Smiley. I never noticed how much that looks like it could be the back of him when he's being reborn.
It's totally that. I mean, the folds are exactly the same. The folds, I mean, that was done on purpose.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Or they thought, I know, let's film the robe in a way and like lay it a certain way so it looks like this so we can drive people totally insane.
Oh yeah. They control us with that. That's true. Yeah. But I think that's what it represents, because I personally never expected a literal like squid Cthulhu monster to show up anywhere. This makes more sense. It doesn't fit the show.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't fit the budget of the show either.
No, that's a good point. It doesn't. But it does look like that though. So that's an interesting parallel there. Fletcher says that's not story walker, Julie, that's story eater, Julie.
What, the one late likes?
Let's see. Golden Child says, when Tabitha had that flashback of walking up the tower steps, didn't we hear a boat horn in the background?
Allegedly, yes.
I was going to say, there's so many things like people are like, wasn't this in there? And I'm always like, I don't remember it. Was it?
Yeah.
It might have been. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I don't remember enough to know. That's why we're doing the rewatch.
It sounded like either a boat horn or a fog horn. It was very deep in pitch. It was definitely not like a vehicle horn. It was it was like a boat horn or a fog horn in that flashback. That it was a premonition dream, actually. It was a premonition dream.
I was going to say it might just be because of the whole lighthouse thing. Like
Yeah.
it might even just be in reference to a lighthouse bringing boats, in or out or whatever. Fletcher said, didn't the boy in white tell Victor, you're right, things are changing? Yeah, he talks about things changing, but not, as far as I know, not till season 3.
Yeah, he doesn't actually
talking
talk
about-
to Victor again on camera till season 3, but Victor
Right.
notices things are changing because 2 cars came and Boy in White came back. So that's how he knows things are changing.
Yeah, I think he mentions the seasons and the fact that the boy in white's older too.
Oh yeah, by season 3 for sure. Yeah, he notices that.
David says it might not be. This is back to what he was saying before about the cycle and the massacre. Yeah, it could be after that. I just don't. I just question it's the same cycle because, like I said, if they're all mortal, there's nobody to massacre unless the car happened after that. Because they can't massacre immortal people. I mean, they technically could try, but it probably wouldn't work very well. So.
Oh yeah, no, they would have like the first batch of people show up at some point after they become immortal. Like who knows how long after, but it was probably not that long, I would think. Like maybe 2 boats showed up, and that's the first cycle. Yeah.
Yeah. And Dieter's saying about a lighthouse. That's what I said. It could be just because there's a lighthouse, the foghorn. Lighthouses do tend to have that. CT5 wants to know about who Martin is and would have rather seen that than the man in yellow. Yeah, I kind of would too because it just opened up a new mystery. But seeing the man in yellow was cool though too. I mean, I can't say I didn't enjoy the man in yellow, but Martin is Eloise. Martin is everybody. That's what I just started saying. Everybody is Martin and Martin is everybody. So yes. Let's see. Do I have anything interesting here? Oh, I had Boyd as Martin. Everybody's Martin. That's my answer.
Everybody's yellow too, apparently.
Everybody's man in yellow, right? They're all
Randall.
maybe it's a dream and they're all different versions of the same person, or maybe they're all from parallel universes, or they're all versions of Jade or something. I don't know.
They're all versions of Randall, obviously, because a lot of people want Randall to be those. They want Randall to be Martin, and they want Randall to be the man in yellow.
Yeah. So maybe, I think the ones you hear the most is Randall and Ethan. I think are the two you kind of hear the most.
But Ethan would be crazy because then he killed his own dad.
Yeah, I don't know that makes as much sense, but being Martin, maybe. I mean, that could potentially make sense. Depends how it goes.
Yeah, I don't see Ethan ever killing his own dad. There's just no way. I don't see the credence to that one personally, but hey, people can believe what they want to believe. That's what's fun about the show.
Yeah. Some of the theories are a bit out there. David's saying, which is true. Eloise is the character we know the least about. And so she has to be the key to the ending. She could definitely be important. Don't think she's Martin, but she could be important. And Fletch is saying Eloise is the big bad. That would be interesting if it ended up that she left and became the evil of the town,
I have a theory on this now that I'm ready to commit to a bit, I think.
Go ahead.
So Eloise, I have been going crazy for so long over the fact that they never definitively said what happened to Eloise for such a long time, that Victor remembered her in season 2, but never said what happened. So everybody assumed we were going to meet her in season 3, that she got out or something like that. We're going to meet her. And then all of a sudden, Victor in season 3 said, oh, yeah, my mom and sister died. And then in the finale, he brings Henry to the graves and he says, Henry says, is that Eloise? And Victor says, yes, I think. The pieces were so small. I gathered the pieces I could. I think that leaves the door open to that she is still alive. Now, okay, I think Eloise must be important because they dragged
Mhm.
this out for so long. They could have just told us if she weren't alive anymore, they could have told us that in season 2, but they dragged it out. It's kind of like a Chekhov's gun where she was
Mhm.
introduced to the plot for a reason, and she has to come into play for some. There has to be some point to it, and if it was for emotional impact, then they should have just said that in season 2 that he found her body, but they didn't. So
Yeah,
what
and
I
they could have even done it in season 3. Like, why say I think it was her body unless
right. So this is what I think. So we saw 2 flashback scenes. We saw a scene in the root cellar where Miranda says goodbye to Victor and Eloise, and right after that, Eloise runs after her. It's like a few seconds pass, you see Eloise run after her and leave Victor alone. And at this point, it's kind of late in the day. In this season 3, we saw Miranda running to the tree at night, pitch black, no Eloise in sight, and she dies. Where is Eloise? There's a missing link in between, and there has to be a reason that they didn't show us because she must have caught up to her mother. She ran out just a few seconds later. So I think Julie story walked. I'm going to commit to this one. I think Julie did something for Eloise, stopped her from running after her mother so that she wouldn't die because she will know how Miranda died. I think Julie somehow story walked, intervened. She's the reason that Eloise is missing from this whole equation, and she somehow saved her. Now, how? I'm not sure, but she took her somewhere. That's what I think, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me, that they didn't make it clear if Eloise is alive or dead. And it would also explain why Victor is somehow like so comfortable with Julie in episode 2 of season 1. He doesn't just talk to people that easily. I think he met her as a child and he just doesn't remember, but he instinctively feels comfortable with her.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm going with for now.
You know what I kind of
But it doesn't break story walking rules then?
Well, I think in this case it was probably meant to happen. She was meant to throw the rope to Boyd. Maybe she was meant to save Eloise.
it could even be a distraction, like as simple as Eloise was on her way out and saw Julie and
Oh
stopped.
yeah.
Type of thing.
Yep.
Though, I have to say, David saying it still expects the flashback to Miranda to change or add Eloise. I would not be surprised if that happened, but it does make me wonder, is there any possibility? Now, I know that everything that it doesn't make sense, we say that Tabitha is Miranda, but is there any way that it would make sense that what she sees is actually Eloise seeing her mother's death? Like, it does. I mean, it's so hard to tell things because when we see visions, we don't see them like first person point of view.
Yeah.
You can't really tell for sure. But just saying that, it does make me wonder, like, is it possible that that's what she saw? And that's why, like, I'm not saying necessarily that Tabitha isn't Miranda, but is it possible that, Eloise is showing Tabitha this because she knows she's Miranda or something? Because it doesn't make sense that Eloise is missing, because if you're right with what you're saying, if Eloise ran out right after her, why did we not see her? Like, they're purposely hiding it from us. Now, I mean, I would say in another show that maybe they just didn't want to show her getting torn to shreds because she's a kid, but they showed the other kids' bodies. Yeah, I know. So I kind of feel like that doesn't make sense.
Or Eloise could have been ahead of Miranda and got to the tree.
Yeah.
And went through the tree, and who knows where she went when she went through the tree.
Fletcher says Victor killed Eloise.
But I agree what you say about the visions. They are kind of like, vague. Up to interpretation, unless it's like Tabby saying, I saw myself as a child in this vision, then we know.
Yeah.
Well,
I sometimes I wonder if they do it so vague like that on purpose, so we're not getting an answer one way or another.
Probably.
That's why I've said before, I wish they would show it from a first person point of view, because then we would at least know whose vision it isn't.
Yeah, and then they had that weird first person thing of Tabitha in town in season 3 for like 10 seconds, and they never did anything like that again.
In town? What do you mean in town?
there was a little shot up from her perspective.
Oh, when she saw the boy in white, you mean?
Yeah, like that. It like was from her first person view. Like
Right.
literally, the camera was first person view for a little while, and it was really weird and stuck out.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, though, that's not like that's not a like a memory of somebody else. Otherwise,
Yeah,
maybe it would
yeah.
help us a bit
Mhm.
more.
Yeah.
Um,
But when people have visions in shows, usually it's third person. It's seldom first person.
it depends
Just for
what
the
they're.
watcher, I suppose.
Yeah, it could just be an artistic choice. It may not
Yeah.
be anything other than that.
Mhm.
Dieter agrees she has to be alive because they dragged it out so long.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they could have let her out. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that there'd be no, if they just say that, oh, she is dead, that's like really
Yeah.
boring.
So
Because
there was-
otherwise, they've had so many opportunities. Even if Victor had, like, it wouldn't even, like, even like I said, even whenever Victor says about he found his mother's body, like,
Mhm.
if they wanted
Exactly.
you to think she was dead, they would have said, I found
Mhm.
her. Like, they wouldn't have made the point of, I think it was her.
Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly. There were so many opportunities to confirm it, and they chose not to. That means, to me, she's got to be alive. She's got to be relevant in some way.
Mhm.
If they wanted to just do a gut punch, they could have done this in season 2. Or been like, he could have said, "Oh, I remember I had a sister. I found her body." That would have been the time to do it, and they didn't. So, yeah,
Yeah. I
there's
thought
a
you were
lot.
going to say it was going to be a gut punch and they just reveal she's dead and it's a whole nothing burger.
Well, that would be a gut punch to us. Yeah, that would be a gut punch. Yeah.
That would. I don't understand why they would have the lead up to that. Fletcher
Yeah.
thinks Story Walker Julie will show us, and that's very possible. I agree with that. That is a strong possibility.
That's the missing link. Tell you,
mhm.
that is the missing link between those two flashbacks. There is a piece missing. I'm going to make a video on it. I just have to stop slacking off and get back to making videos.
You know, Dieter, and this wasn't to us, but he was saying maybe Eloise got captured and is the girl in the caves behind the bars. We know that the Ankui children are there, but it would be weird, like, if it's a possibility that there could be a human like, I'm not even saying Eloise, but I'm just saying, like, in general, like, that they could they find somebody that's like locked up down there.
The monsters made them stay.
Yeah, maybe that's why they
like a pet or something, like a pet human.
Yeah, that'd be scary. Fletcher says that thinks that the Eloise is the doctor that Tabitha spoke to in Camden. It's possible. I mean, I would assume the timing, like, I'd have to think about it, but the age would probably be close enough. It would work.
See, I always thought there was going to be more Camden scenes, like maybe an investigator at Camden or somebody investigating Tabby's phone call to her mom, but nothing like that ever happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be a big mystery there by now, because now you've got not only the Matthew family disappearing and one person reappearing and then disappearing, you also have 2 EMTs that disappeared and a cop that disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a small town, so that's probably big news.
I just don't think they're ever going to go back to it, though. I think it would take up too much of the story. I'm not saying I don't want them to. I'm just saying I don't think it'll happen. Let's see. David's saying he likes that maybe Julie jumped into the tree. He didn't think about Julie time jumping. Let's see. Fletcher. Why would the vision stop when Miranda died, though? Didn't the writers confirm it's Tabitha Miranda and not Tabitha Eloise? Did they ever like say it as the writers? I don't know that they confirmed it, but I definitely, I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that means it's not Miranda. She's not Miranda. I'm just saying I wonder if it's possible that somehow Eloise showed her that vision rather than Tabitha, or rather than Miranda showing it to her, regardless of the fact that Tabitha is still Miranda. And I don't know if they've ever outright confirmed it, but I mean, I think it was pretty confirmed on the show.
I think there is a line that confirms it.
Yeah, something in the show. Have the
writers
writers said it? Outside the show, I don't know.
Yeah. No, within the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they definitely confirmed it. They confirmed it. You know, Tabitha had the revelation that she was Miranda, and if they just kind of negate that and say, "Oh, well, she was mistaken," she's not like that's, you don't have an earth-shattering moment like that and change it. No.
Yeah,
Every
that would
character in
be-
the show is unreliable narrators. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, you can't explain something big and important and then take it back. I mean, you
Yeah.
can, but it'll screw it up. Dieter's saying that we would have heard Eloise scream or the viewpoint was too high. I assume he means physically too high. Maybe she got saved or captured by Christopher. Maybe they're stuck in another timeline. They're all possibilities, but I wonder though, like, I don't know. I mean, we only saw to that point in the vision. Like maybe there's more to it that we haven't seen yet too.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it really was Miranda's vision, and maybe because Miranda died, the vision ended, and that's why we didn't see Eloise, because she was a few feet behind her. And if she hadn't died and turned around, then she would have been in the vision too.
Exactly.
Sopranos ending.
Yeah. Fudge says when Eloise got out of the cellar, was it daytime or nighttime? I think it was supposed to be nighttime, wasn't it?
I don't think it was nighttime yet. It was. I think it was like late in the day when that
It's
happened.
getting close to it though, because she told him to stay and she ran out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
CT5 says, I like the first person view. I wish the monsters got a scene like that, at least one episode. I'd like to see something from the monster point of view too. I think that would be cool.
A day in the life of Smiley.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Smiley in a pilgrim hat.
Yep. How does he forget he had a sister? What was so traumatic that they had him lock Eloise's memory? Well, I mean, I think the fact that she died, that's a good point though. I mean, I just assumed it was because she died and he felt at fault that he suppressed it. But I wonder why he suppressed Eloise and not his mother.
Yeah, it is surprising that I don't know. Like, I feel like it's probably just a matter of practicality. Like Victor wasn't even supposed to survive season 1. Originally, they weren't going to keep him around, and when they decided to keep him, I think they decided to do this to give more of a story to him, add to it. Because it doesn't make sense that he would block out Eloise and not his mother, especially now in season 3. Now that we know he blocked out the memory of telling Miranda, like, Christopher was supposed to go to the tree, so he now feels responsible for Miranda's death. You would think he would have blocked her out completely. So I think it's just because they weren't planning on keeping Victor past season 1, so the sister was not part of the plan.
It very well might be. But I have to think, at any rate, there's something more to it. Fletcher is mentioning that the priest in Camden knows about Fromville now. Is that not important? I mean, I think it's important, but I honestly don't think they're going to go back. Excuse me. Geez, sorry. I honestly don't think they're going to go back to Camden. I don't think they have enough story time left to take the time to tell stories from Camden. That's just my own personal opinion. Is it important she told him? I don't know. It's like Dieter saying, I think what Dieter means. I'm guessing he says priests can't say these things to others like doctors. I mean, there would be a confidentiality, I'm assuming is what he's talking about, that like priests can't share what they've been told. Usually, though, a doctor or a priest can break that confidentiality if it's like that somebody's in danger. Sometimes, yeah, it kind of depends what it is. And sometimes it depends whether the priest is willing to break it, not just like legally whether they're allowed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if they, David's saying when your mind goes through trauma, it represses it like negative numbers, emotions put in a box, and it creates a fantasy as defense mechanism. So you don't remember it, like Jasper turning into Boy in White. Yeah, it's just strange that he suppressed Eloise and not Miranda, unless maybe he really did see her mangled body in pieces and that's why he suppressed it. But again, that the way that they've set it up, it doesn't seem like that. So I don't know. I was gonna say we're past the first hour, so if you're still with us, thank you for listening. Please take a minute. I meant to say it. I saw Dieter posted it in the chat, but I was waiting until it was after the hour, and then we started talking, and I forgot. If you're still watching and you haven't, please take a minute to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also to check out Julie's channel, which is in the description of the video, and all of our other, past live streams for these deep dives that the three of us have done, and all our interviews and everything are all on that YouTube. And also at, of course, scifivision.com. So yeah, please take time to do that. And also make sure that I got the link again. Make sure that you stop at the Discord because we have our rewatch watch parties. Whoops, I didn't need to do that. Our rewatch watch parties on Saturday night at 8 Eastern, where we watch the episode that we're going to be discussing on these streams on Sundays. So make sure you check that out. All right, let's see. Fletcher thinks that maybe the priest ends up in Frumville. That's true. He could end up there. But what would that accomplish, though? What do you guys think about that? Because I'm wondering, like, if he knows and he's outside of Frumville, like, what would him coming in actually help?
I don't know unless he knows something that we don't know he knows.
I guess that's
true. Yeah, I as much as I would love to see this super sus priest again, because it drove me nuts. He's like, look at the lunchbox, like, humor me. And, he knew Tabitha's baby was a boy without her saying anything. I don't think we're ever going to see that priest again, and probably no more Camden again, unless maybe near the end of the series somebody gets out and makes it to that original bottle tree. If it happens, it probably won't be till the very, very end. But I think the priest I think the priest heard a voice that told him Tabitha was coming and make sure she opens the lunchbox. I think it was the boy in white. I think he can talk to people outside there. I think he talked to Father Cautry, who thought he heard the voice of God right before he got to Frumville. So that's my own headcanon, and I don't think it's a bad theory either. I think it makes sense when you compare it to what Father Cautry heard. He heard a voice that he thought was God that told him, get in your car and drive, and then he winds up in Frumville. So that's how I explain it in my head.
Yeah. Or he was just meant to be there, or meant to be there. But I mean, Father Cautry maybe was just meant to be there. I don't know. Sorry, I'm retweeting about that. More people. Where did I go? I lost what we were talking about. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I kept going to say it, and then we got off track. I did want to mention in that scene that we were talking about when Jade was talking to Kenny. Kenny does make a comment, says he's going to get himself killed. He tells Christy that.
Mm-hmm.
I would tend to think that they hadn't thought that far. Like, if it hasn't happened yet, like, I don't think back then they had thought through, like, all the way to season 4 or 5 or whatever. So I think if it hasn't happened yet, it probably didn't mean anything.
I hope that's not foreshadowing that he gets himself killed in the end. I hope not. He also said, am I supposed to get anything from you, when he was talking to Kenny, like some kind of a clue, or that he said, never mind, I'll figure it out. I like to think that's foreshadowing, that he'll figure it all out. He'll figure out the whole puzzle in the end and hopefully not get himself killed. I would prefer that not to happen.
Or they also said there was a clue in every building.
Yeah, so maybe there's a clue.
He did say that
you should go back and look at every building. He said, like, usually in escape rooms, like, there should be like some kind of a clue in every building. So
yeah. Vader says, when Jade had his first vision, why did the guy under the boulder scream like Jasper? Did you think it was supposed to be the same? I think it was more just that screams like a jump scare. I hadn't really thought about it. It is kind of the same scream, but I don't know if that's relevant. I just see it as, it's not even that guy necessarily screamed to him, but just that it, like, freaked Jade out. Like, it was to make him freak out.
Yeah, I always thought that all the voice stuff was connected to the Man in Yellow because he could throw his voice. I feel like the Man in Yellow isn't corporeal, so he only has a voice. So I thought he was messing around with the radio, messing around with the CB radio in the RV, and messing around with Jasper and making him scream.
Oh. Do you say you think?
And I thought the man under the boulder was also the Man in Yellow.
Did you say you think he wasn't corporeal?
Like, he doesn't have a body.
Okay.
He just has a voice. Until Jade's song brought him into body form. The only way he can mess with people would be audibly.
Yeah, well, because I was going to say, he's definitely corporeal when he kills Jim.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But that's because the song drug him out of whatever he was in, because he looked like he dug himself out of a tomb.
He does, kind of.
wherever he was held, I think that, like, when you hold vampires down or something, and then somebody drips some blood on a coffin or something, and it's like, ta-da, here's a vampire. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I think about the Man in Yellow is that it was the voice on the radio. I mean, that was kind of a given.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that for whatever reason, I don't know that there's really a reason to think this. I just personally think that he is the one that made the people immortal. I thought that from the beginning. And why, I don't know, because like I said, it's not really told. I just felt like that. So
yeah.
I don't know. Muncher Luncher says, I'm still waiting for Martin to enter metamorphosis into a spider and start dragging people around. Scarlet would be happy.
Oh, she would be.
I'm really still into the vision of future Julie as a spider, Randall as a cicada, and Mari as a butterfly. And now it lives rent free in my head for the rest of my life. To the day I die.
Did I sneeze? Did I sneeze? No, I burped. That's why I said that's what I did. That's why I said that. I thought everybody could hear it when I did.
Oh, no, I didn't hear anything.
Good. Okay. So I should have said that, but no, I didn't sneeze. That wasn't what that was about.
Oh, and I was gonna say I still think the man under the boulder was a past version of Jade. I think every vision was a past version of him. He saw Christopher, we know that was a past version of him. We saw a Puritan guy, we saw a Civil War soldier, and we saw that guy under the boulder. I think the fact that they're all from such different looking eras could suggest that they're different versions of him reincarnated, and so I think it's the scream inside the dummy, because the place wants to turn Jade into its puppet, and it's using past version of himself screaming inside the puppet. Yeah, that's my opinion. I just wanted to say that.
And then we could just bring Jasper back for season 4, which would be
It definitely could be a version of him. It just gets thrown off so much when you think about like Tom.
Well, that's different. That's more like what Boyd sees, like a Cautry. It's a different type of vision, it's
No,
like,
I agree, but I wish that they would, I don't know, find a way to like say that they're different, because that's what kind of throws it off. Like, was he just seeing Tom because did he really see Tom's spirit? Is Tom an entity of the town? Was it just because he was drunk? Like, there's so many different things it could be, but to me, the fact that he saw Tom throws some of the other stuff into question a little bit. Like, I get, and I agree with you, it is something different, but like, why? Like, what was Tom about then? Is what I want to know.
I still think Tom and Cautry, I think Tom and Cautry may be part of the entity. I go back and forth. Sometimes I think their advice and that just their presence are pretty suspicious. Like just the way they look at them, the way Tom kind of leers at him with the kind of an evil grin behind his back, and so I question it. I question whether it's his inner conscience speaking to him or it's part of the entity. I'm open to both perspectives, but I lean more toward it's the big bad trying to manipulate him. I don't know.
I just question though, because none of the advice that either of those have given have been really bad though, have they?
I think sober up was bad advice, actually. It sounds like weird, but I think when Tom told him to sober up, I think that would include weed, and I think weed calms him down enough that he can think clearly, like it calmed to the screaming in Julie's head when she smoked weed. So sobering up, if he stops smoking weed, he's just going to be even more of a maniac and not going to be able to think straight. So personally, I don't think that was good advice, but I don't know. You could interpret it either way.
I don't know. I think that I kind of feel like he started doing better once he wasn't just hanging around drinking, but I guess it's hard to tell if he was still drunk.
But sober could mean alcohol, or it could mean smoking pot, like sober could go for either thing. So
yeah. Well, we're assuming it was drinking just because Tom was the bartender. So but you're right, it doesn't necessarily mean that.
Even the alcohol might calm him down a bit. That's never good advice to drink to solve your problems, of course, but it is from Bill, so you never know. It might actually help him.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that they're just their subconscious though. I think there's something more than that. at any rate. Golden Child thinks they have to confirm the connection that the priest definitely knew what was in the lunchbox Tabitha had. We think that. Let's see. David says, Victor went from being oppressed to angry to throwing demonic devices out the window to accepting with Tabitha in the cellar to acceptance with his dad at her grave. It's an age-old story. He's definitely, I mean, he's growing. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely repressed a lot and he's starting to remember things, which I think is why they're getting further. CT5 says that was the human jester under the rock. Jasper, he means, and his soul transferred. At least I assume that meant Jasper. They said Jester. Let's see. Let's see the primordial scream. Okay, Golden Child says that's why it's talking to you, but says yes, that's why Julie saw the little girl, which was a past version of herself. Does he mean Tabitha?
Yeah, he meant Tabitha. He said he mixed up the names, but he meant Tabitha.
Okay. I didn't get far enough to. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, see, she did see her. We're assuming that is her in the dream, but. And yeah, David's right. Weed could suppress dreams too.
Yeah. Yeah, she at first she didn't say anything about like whether it was her, but then in the next episode she did tell Jim like I was, looking up and I screamed and then I didn't see what it was and then I woke up. So she referred to the little girl as herself when she said I. So
yeah. Let's see. I also have, this is completely a separate piece, but since we don't have any more from the chat, Kenny had said that denial is a major part of our family tree. I don't know if that has any relevance, but.
Well, he said it twice, so it must have relevance.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's right. He did say it later.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's important. I'm not sure why it's important, though, I guess.
I don't know. I think it's the theme of family trees, it being significant to the show. Like, it really messed up. I mean, you could look at it like Tabitha and Jade have a very messed up family tree in general. Maybe it's just to put the idea of family trees in our heads, like, because they're reincarnated over and over again. Like, that's not a normal family tree. And I just think family trees are a theme, and maybe bloodlines. Maybe the people are kind of selected to be there based on bloodlines, family trees, that kind of thing. It's got to be important, I think, since he said it twice.
Yeah. One thing I had wanted to ask you guys is when Jade went down into the root cellar, was it different or was it just we didn't see all the way in? Because it looked like maybe that cabinet was in the back room past the screaming guy and he didn't go all the way in.
Yep. Yeah, he opened the door in the root cellar and then he could see like inside that cabinet. That's where that guy was. Like you could see the cabinet doors were open. There was like the guy in the boulder inside of that big cabinet.
Oh, you think he was inside of you mean I meant the cabinet that Elgin moved? You think he was inside of it? I wasn't sure. Yeah. Weird camera angle the way they showed it.
It was, and then like when Jade looked back again, he had disappeared, and you just see the cabinet doors open and it's empty. But before that, he was like in there, like he was in the cabinet with the boulder.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing. Sorry, I got a text message. I was gonna say. I have when Boyd was talking to Kachi, but yes, you might be right. I wasn't sure. That's why I asked. But I was thinking about how you had mentioned last night when like Jade's yelling to people, well, yelling to nobody in particular, but yelling up at the sky. Like,
yeah.
Kachi makes a comment to Boyd that says if they're not answering, maybe he isn't listening close enough, and it made me think of that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and yeah, the yelling up at the sky, I just thought was funny because he doesn't know it yet, but like there's somebody can see and hear them everywhere. Like someone or something heard Boyd yelling in the middle of the woods. You can't break me. So yes, it's just funny. Like he's yelling up at the sky twice. At the end, he was yelling up saying, "It's not funny anymore." Like there is an entity watching and listening, so it's kind of foreshadowing that. And yeah, Kadri said, yeah, maybe you're not listening closely enough. And I think he said that because he thought he heard a voice of God that brought him here. So he very much believes like you need to listen closely. And, like, yeah, but God could speak to Boyd too and tell him what to do.
Yeah, he might have just meant specifically God, but it just made me think of when Jade was saying that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's this whole conversation between them, obviously, about Boyd was, I guess, hoping because he's a priest, he would tell him to have mercy on Frank. And and this is kind of like where Cautry really, even Ghost Cautry seems to me to like be the same personality. Like, I don't know that I really believe it's him, but his advice does seem to, I don't know, fit with his advice here even. Because he's just kind of like, well, but then I guess that's not necessarily true though, because then like he tells him not to hurt Elgin, so I don't know. But
that's kind of crazy advice from a priest.
Yeah, but I mean he's not wrong. If he doesn't punish him, then what happens? Like it could become way worse, but he is sort of absolving him and telling him to punish him, which is not what you would expect. And I don't know. I guess I don't know that there's a right answer of what he should do. I mean, he kind of created the problem himself by making that box in the first place, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see. Golden Child says, what if there's an entity always watching and listening? Wouldn't they have known where the townspeople were hiding? Yeah, I've said that before. I don't know if it's the fact that they're just not wanting to catch everybody and they're trying to make it more of a game, or if there's only certain things they can see. And that kind of leads you back to the idea, could there be a mole? I know we've talked about this before. I mean, yeah, if there's always somebody listening, then why couldn't they find them? Like, what was the reason in between?
Or Donna was just hiding in the bushes.
Yeah, like
they decided to purposely not kill her.
Right. It can't be either they can hear it or they can't. Or they can hear it and they choose
not. Or maybe they can't sense motion or something.
Yeah, maybe they can only see straight right in front of them or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it made me wonder though. We talk about like they like the game and everything and that they torture people. I kind of find it interesting that they killed Frank almost a little bit.
Yeah, like
because
very, very zealously.
Yeah, but I mean, the reason why I say that is it's kind of like the town agreed to sacrifice him to the monsters because of what he did. Like it was punishment. And I actually would not have been surprised if they were like, well, then we're not going to take him.
Yeah, it's not the game. That's not the game we want to play.
Yeah, so it's interesting to me that they killed him, and I have to wonder why. And that goes back to the question, are they killing everybody they get the chance, or are they purposely letting people live because they want to play the game?
Well, I think maybe the game was they kill Lauren and Megan, and then they make Frank suffer until he gives up hope.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it seems like they kill people after they've given up hope. You know, like if they, okay, it's no fun to play with you anymore if you don't have, you know, any hopes and you don't have any fear of dying, then we'll just take you out.
Yeah.
Like no, I'm speeding on him.
I just question he couldn't have suffered more yet. Like they didn't let him suffer very long. It just surprised me. I don't know. Like thinking of it now, having seen the whole preseason, it surprised me. Yeah, Fletcher says maybe season 4 starts with Smiley running towards Boyd. Do you guys think they know he's there watching in the cave at the end of the season?
I don't know, because he said I don't know, probably because he just said, you know, I'll be with you guys shortly, and maybe they thought he went down there.
Yeah, he said he had to see what happened.
Yeah,
it just makes me wonder if they're aware and they're just not saying anything, or if they don't know it. Yeah, I don't know. I tend to think that they're not all knowing and they can't see and hear everything, but I think that they can see and hear a lot. David says, I still believe Elgin is on the right path. It was a mistake by Boyd. That's why his inner guidance contacted him, but we shall see. I guess David thinks then Elgin was right to take Fatima.
I don't know. Maybe he's on the right path after he loses his eye and gains Odin knowledge,
Maybe. But
and
I don't know
maybe
that.
from that he goes down the right path.
Maybe, but I don't know that I don't think taking Fatima was the right path. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fletcher says, what was Boyd going to do if he had caught Fatima? The pregnancy wouldn't stop. She would suffer even more. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. If he thought like if he had caught them too soon, like would he have killed the baby? Would he have, because she could have died in the process? Would he have taken the baby?
Mhm.
Would it have still grown into Smile? Like we don't know. That's a good
Yeah.
question though. And Fletcher had said Jamie had said that on a different show that he was looking directly into Boyd's eyes there.
Oh yeah, I think it's like a kind of a hero villain dichotomy.
Yeah.
David think it looks like he smiled.
Nemesis.
It looked like it, but that also could. I mean, it's possible that's also just the way the actor played it too. I don't know that necessarily means Smiley saw him. But I mean, he definitely could have. I'm just saying, I don't know that proves it, even if he said that. CT5 said, I think they've seen Boyd because they wouldn't care to kill him because they would have killed him. They would have already killed him. I assume that means. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they would have stopped him one way or another, but I don't know. It's interesting to think about because I don't see how they could have not known that he was there, you know? Fletcher says it was a smile like me. Yeah. Hey, Gramps.
or he's happy he's Boyd's grandkid now.
Yeah, exactly. Dieter says it looks like he was watching the other monsters. I don't know. I personally agree. I didn't think that I didn't think they gave any indication he saw him. I'm not saying he didn't, but I didn't take it that he did. And like I said, even if the actor says he was looking at Boyd, that could be the way he played the scene as opposed to that that's necessarily what the character did.
Yeah.
I'm not doubting Jamie said that, but you know, like that doesn't mean that that's the correct answer either because the actors don't really know. And I don't think they would have said to him, you're looking, you know, they might have said, you know, look at Harold as you do this scene, but that doesn't literally mean that the character
and maybe it's not completely direct because maybe the whole joy of him smiling and being rebirth and then he just kind of turns and then Boyd's there. I mean, maybe not a direct, I'm going to look at you, but maybe just a slight, oh, I see you.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see again.
It looked like it to me. I don't know. To me, when I saw it and he turned around, it looked like he saw Boyd, but it's unclear.
Yeah, it's definitely unclear. But yes, he's his grandpa now. I hope they're going to make jokes about that. Like with the multiple husbands, we want jokes too. Elgin calls the kimono lady an angel, and in Revelation chapter 12, the angel whisks away the woman clothed in the sun to keep her safe and feeds her because the dragon wants to devour the child. I'm not sure if he's referencing he took Fatima away because she wanted to kill the child. I'm not sure that I quite connect that.
Yeah.
I get saying that it connects to that, but I mean, like, which does Fatima represent in that statement?
The woman clothed on the sun.
To keep her safe. Yeah, but so you think that, okay, so you guys are saying you think
the
that
angel, which
also
is Kimono,
trying
was away Fatima and
so you're saying that Boyd's like the dragon or whatever, but not literally devour the child, but like that it was to keep Fatima safe too. Could be. I tend to think Kimono Woman in them is bad though. I just think that there's not much more to it. I think that
will we see her again? I don't know if we'll see her again.
I don't know, but I definitely don't think she was protecting Fatima personally. I mean, that's not saying she wasn't, but I don't personally think that.
She may have devoured the zygote and put Smiley in there.
Yeah, maybe just one goal. At this point, Boyd could go spend one night at the tunnel since the monsters don't touch him. Probably. I don't think that they'll kill her. And David saying whisked away. Yeah, I mean, they definitely could have been protecting her. I just tend to think that they weren't trying to help Fatima in any way. I think they only cared about the baby personally. I don't know, but
Well, help her with the baby, I guess.
yeah, but I mean,
Until
even
that point, it was a pod, and then it's like you're on your own, sister.
right, but I mean, even like feeding her the blood, I think that was all about the baby. I don't know that it was to protect Fatima. Let's see.
Well, she's a shell that's protecting the baby herself.
Right. That's true, I guess, if you look at it that way. But either way, I definitely think the kimono woman's bad. I don't think that.
Mm-hmm.
I also, though, don't think what Elgin did was good either. So,
yeah.
I mean, maybe he's right and I'm wrong. I don't know. Fletcher says, I don't like the plot armor around Boyd, to be honest. I like Boyd, but it's too much. I don't know.
I guess that's what you get when you're a lead.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't really bother me. Like, I don't want them to kill the lead of the show. I think he's too much of it. But no, you're totally right. I mean, he does have plot armor. We've talked about that before. I don't think they would kill him. I agree with that. I don't think they would. Let's see. Looking through this. I also had thought about the fact that, and this is completely a separate thing, but when Boyd is giving, what's his name, Frank, the talisman, and saying to go be in the woods and live, and he doesn't want to kill him. He mentioned
300 yards away.
Yeah, no, he mentions the shack. Like, I'm assuming that's the shack from season 3, and like it popped up all the way back then.
Yeah, but he says it's only 300 yards away.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
That's not that far. Wouldn't they notice it?
Yeah, but the thing is, I think it's the same shack they put Fatima in after she killed Tilly, and it looked like they were walking miles in the woods.
It did, but maybe it's because it's in the woods. I mean, most of the people aren't going to go into the woods. Boyd and Sarah were the only ones stupid enough to go into the woods at night.
I don't know, 300 yards doesn't seem very far.
No, I don't know. I'd
go
have
live
to.
your life. 300, nobody will find you. Go live your life.
Yeah, that's not very far. That's what, 900 feet. Yeah, that's not. I don't know.
Seems like an error.
Maybe he
What'd you say, Julie?
It seems like an error. Like they shouldn't have said 300 yards because that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Or it could be that he completely had nothing to do with that shack because they hadn't written the shack in season 3 in yet. And they thought, hey, we mentioned a shack. Let's stick one in.
Yeah.
There's so many things I think they added after the fact.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could tell a lot of the things the writers were basically like that somebody says, and they're like, yeah, we did that on purpose. It doesn't mean that they did. So.
Well, I think it'd be ridiculous that they have people looking for Fatima and she's only 300 yards away.
Yeah, no, you're right. It would.
Can't find her.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're totally right. Let's see. We have the whole thing about the choosing ceremony, and I have written down about his stole, but we talked about that. I had talked about this last night in the watch party. This whole thing with the choosing ceremony to me doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't totally work for me because, first of all, Tabitha's right. Julie's a minor.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, I really can't see that if Julie decided she wanted to live with her parents, that they're going to say, Julie, you can't go live with your family because you said you wanted to stay at this house. Like the whole idea that it's like permanent to me is kind of stupid. And I don't think it's literal. I think that they do that because they don't want people changing their minds, but like they're a family. And I don't think if they change their minds, they do anything about it. I think they'd just be like, okay, go live with him. Like I originally thought that this was more, and maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of wondered if this happened after Boyd's wife killed the people and Ellis wanted away from Boyd. So it's kind of like you live your group of people the way you want, and we'll control our group of people the way we want, and we'll just kind of stay out of each other's way. But
and it was Boyd's idea. Choosing Days Boyd's idea.
Yeah, so that way they can go where they want. But I think it's more about like if they go to the town, they're agreeing to follow the rules, right? Which is why it's kind of funny that Jade picked the rock when he's like not listening to anything anybody says. But I think it's more about like more of a symbolic thing, like they said about the way of life. Like, are we going to live in a community and protect each other, or are we more living for today because tomorrow may not come? But I don't think it has as much permanence and significance as they're making it out to be. I just don't think that if somebody randomly decided I don't like it here anymore because people are having sex next to me all the time or something like that, like happened, you know.
Or this your son wants to paint me like one of his French girls, you know, kind of a thing.
Can I
back
leave?
to town?
I don't think they'd really care if they left. I think that because that's the other thing too. Like they say that if you live in town, you have to follow the rules and everything. But the people that are in Colony House, they still have to follow the rules.
Yeah, and they grow
even how
crops.
Donna wants to take Randall's gun away. Like they still have to follow the town rules. It's just they're more, I guess, flexible there.
Yeah, I think there's like more of a you put your like community before yourself in town. And whatever that community is, if you don't agree with it. Whereas in Colony House, you kind of do your own thing and more independence.
Yeah. Which is why Julie chose it in the first place, was because she wanted
to because her parents are awful.
Yeah, if they hadn't have told her she had to make that decision and they had actually let her go to the town with them, instead of making her stay back with Ethan, she would have seen what happened to that family and she might have chosen to go with them.
And she even said, you know, Donna can look after Ethan. They had somebody that could look after Ethan and they still didn't invite her.
Yeah, and they wouldn't let her make a choice. So she's like, you're going to not include me. I'm going to make a choice different from yours. And that was a whole, she's a rebellious teenager thing more than it was, I want to live over here thing. But
I mean, especially when you know later that when, you know, Thomas died, she was made to be an adult and that they were treating her like one.
Yeah.
Like it's all situational. I can understand why she, like, you know, was the way she is.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But I just don't think it's quite as permanent and important as they're making it out like it is. I think it's more of a symbolic thing. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's neither here nor there because at this point in the show, they're all like separated. And by the time we're at season 3, because of all the deaths and everything, everybody's together again anyway, because we're not like, because I mean, I think it was the first episode when Donna kind of said something to Boyd, like, you're not supposed to be here. Like he goes over to Colony House a lot. That changed. And and it's weird that they sort of shifted it that much. But I don't know. I have a problem that and I know it was more meant for comedic effect in a way, but I also think it was meant to show the way Colony House was.
Yeah.
It's really a problem to me that there's people having sex in the next room from where Ethan and his family are. Like that's a problem.
Well, it bothers me about just the room distribution in Colony House because Ellis has his own room, Fatima has her own room, even though they're a couple. Victor has his own room, but yet there's people in the hallway sleeping. There's people by the fireplace. There's people on the couch. Why can't you have roommates?
Right?
I think that, like, you know, Fatima and Ellis are in the same room, though, right? I mean, that's their room, not.
No, they have 2 different rooms. Fatima has her own room.
She does? I thought it was the same room.
Yeah.
I mean, Julie says she's in the bathroom when he asks where she's at, but
No, later on, especially in season 3, you see her in her room. It's not Elsa's room.
Okay, I thought it had the drawings all over it. I thought it was the same room. I'd have to relook
It just seems weird that some people, I mean, you don't even see a room where there's like multiple people living in a room.
Yeah, no, I agree, because they're just.
You just see people having their own room, and then everybody else, like, you know, sleeping on the floor or on the couch or in the hallway or in the stairwell.
Yeah. David has a point. The ceremony was more so the audience can see the differences between the Colony House and town's mindset. And yeah, you're right. You're totally 100% right. I'm just saying that they made it out to be such a big deal that it didn't become. And I don't know if they originally had planned it to be more of a rule, a law thing, and they just kind of changed it when people started dying.
Yeah.
Or
well, they made it look really culty in the first episodes.
They really did. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was weird how they made it sound so final. Like, you know, once you choose, you can't change your mind again.
Like, I don't think they're going to say you can't come. I mean, to be fair, there's only so many houses in town. But I mean, more than one person can stay at a house, just like all of them are, like you said, sleeping on the floor in Colony House. You kind of wonder, it seems like there's so many people and there's really not enough room for them, but they don't, you're just supposed to accept that. You know, we know there's like at least 3 floors to Colony House, but we don't know how many bedrooms there are. Maybe those people like laying on the floor. I mean, I don't know. It's their communal living.
One place where Sarah gets a house all to herself, but all the rest of them are stuffed into another house, like 20 people.
Yeah. Well, I think Sarah ended up with a house by default because at that point nobody wanted to be with her, so that might have been part of that. They're scared of her, but
nobody wants to wake up with Sarah with a screwdriver hanging above their head, you know, and open up your eyes and you're like, oh boy.
Fair. That's fair.
No one wants to see that sight. Yeah. It's so unfair. She gets the whole house to herself. They don't have houses.
Yeah, that's what you do. You freak everybody out and scare them, so like they don't want you living with them, and then you get your own house.
Well, I'm sure Elton will probably have his own place.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I kind of wondered about that, but again, I think that's more an idea of just the way they're doing the show, and it doesn't practically make sense because there wouldn't be enough houses. Like the Matthews family took over that family's house because they died. But I kind of wondered that back then, like, why were there not other people living in that house? And I think it's just a storytelling device, and it's not.
But even the whole choosing day scene, they say everybody from the town is there, and there's maybe like 35, 40 people.
It feels like they should be more.
Colony House. So it's
and I mean, Kenny's mom's not there. There's other people that have talked that aren't there. Carla's not there, and I'm like, not everybody's here.
Yeah, that's why I think it really doesn't have. I think it's just something that they put in a storytelling device, and that it really doesn't matter because I really don't think all those people could fit in Colony House to begin with. The amount of people they make it look like are staying there.
Well, Colony House is pretty big. I'm just saying room distribution. They could have 3 or 4 people living in a room like a hotel room with 2 beds, you know?
Right. There doesn't seem like there'd be enough room like for them each to have their own room is what I meant.
Yeah.
Fletcher says, I wonder what Jade told Boyd when he grabbed him to choose Colony House or town was foreshadowing something. What Jade said, Jade picked up the rock.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he really thought about what he picked up, because you would think if he doesn't want to follow the rules, he would have picked up the flower. But he did make that comment earlier. I don't know if I said that tonight or I just said that last night. But he says something earlier about he can't do anything from staying in the house when he's in Colony House. And he's like, I'm going to go out and turn over some stones or something. And I think that foreshadowed he was going to pick the stone.
Or just turning over stones is like a talisman reference.
Yeah, it could be that too. That's a good point.
Yeah.
This would be a reference to the sacrificial stones. It's like
they're a wink, and they're a big wink.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Fletcher has a good point. Would you let your kid with an unknown lady, like let Ethan stay with Donna? That's a good point. I hadn't really thought of, but I feel like they could have let them both go with them.
Yeah.
Well, no, Ethan couldn't, I guess, because Ethan was hurt. But
yeah, that's true.
But I mean, they're kind of in that town at that point. You're totally right. I wouldn't leave my kid alone with them either. But like from a television show perspective, because it's not real, like I think it would have made more sense, not more sense, but being more fair to Julie if they had brought Julie, because then she wouldn't have felt like she didn't get a choice, which was why she made the opposite choice in the first place. Like if she'd gone to that house and she'd seen, oh my God, this family died, I think she would have chosen the town. I really do.
Oh, really? Because I would have thought she'd chosen Colony House more because she doesn't want to, live in a blood.
Really? I would just think I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I would think you'd want to be with your family, really seeing that danger up close.
Because before I rewatched it, I thought there was a scene when she went. I thought she saw the bedroom and she was like, nope, I'm going to Colony House.
No, she never saw it. But I don't know.
That's what I do.
Well, I don't know. I look at it as she only chose Colony House, not because she wanted Colony House. She chose Colony House because she wanted to do, not even necessarily she wanted to do the opposite, but she didn't want to be where they were because she wanted to make her own decision. Like she wanted that independence. So I don't know. I think that maybe if she had seen how dangerous it was, she might have decided to stay with her family. But I do in a way wish they had shown something about like them cleaning that house, because they do make
Yeah.
it like they're going to get that bloody bedroom, and clearly the bedroom doesn't look like that when they get in there.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
fact that they
Fletcher
did bedroom
doesn't
was
know
like
that Fatima has her own room either. I thought they were the same room. I don't know. I still think they're the same room. I got to go back and watch it.
yeah. When did they shoot Fatima's room, Scarlett? I don't remember that.
I thought it was Ellis's room because there's drawings around when she's talking to Julie in her room.
No, that's Alice's room.
Yeah, but where's Fatima's room? When did they mention that or show it?
In season 3, when Tilly's there, she has like her own little room.
Oh,
okay, so
I
that's
think
the
they,
room.
okay, I know what she's talking about now. I could
Yeah.
be wrong, but I think they just took her there when she was sick, like because they were hooking up the IV and everything. I don't know that that was necessarily I mean, I guess it would make sense it was her room, but I just assumed that was
Yeah,
someone.
I think it's been shown before. I mean, I'll have to rewatch it and see.
No, I see what you're saying where they took her when she was getting the IV, but I
Mhm.
assumed they just took her there like she was just laying down because she was getting the IV and they were keeping her safe, not necessarily that it was her bedroom, but it does
No,
seem
I
strange.
think
they
it is
took
her
another
bedroom.
room.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
been mentioned before, and I had read a few people like on Reddit and stuff that made an observation of it, and I was like, yeah, that's just weird.
It is weird. You would think they'd be in the same room, so I don't know.
They're taking valuable like, you know, real estate away from like the 5 people that have to sleep in front of the fireplace.
They really
Yeah.
are. Yeah. That
They're
makes
kind of
no
selfish.
sense.
I don't know. Golden Child says, I think Julie chose Coney Halls to make her parents feel bad about the Marty breaking up the family by getting a divorce. That could be another reason.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She wanted to get away from her parents, and she was, she knew that they were going to get a divorce, and yeah. So I think that was it.
Either way, I think she wants to hurt them to some extent. Fletcher says that it's the same room. I'd have to look. It might be maybe just the angle of the video too. Like maybe it just makes it look different.
Yeah, I'll have to. Like I said, I'll have to rewatch. I'll have to see.
Yeah, I don't
what
know.
her situation is.
Same. Let's see. The other thing I have written is okay. So Kenny takes Jade to see Toby. And I said this last night. I don't understand why they didn't just do that sooner. Like that was common sense. If he wasn't believing it was real, to take him to see his dead friend.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have the iconic, don't do it, Frank, don't go.
Yeah. Yes, I know, in a storytelling point of view. But it just seemed like, why did nobody think of that? Although it made me wonder too about back with Sarah when she had to kill Toby and make it look like they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it possible that because Jade's important in the scheme of things, like maybe there was no other way to make Jade believe that it was really happening, so that was why they killed Toby, and it was totally about Jade?
I don't know. Because I guess Toby's a genius, so you don't want 2 geniuses living in your town.
Yeah, there's that.
You gotta take one out.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wondered. I wrote that down. Like maybe that had something to do with why they killed him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Let's see. I thought the song was interesting. I was trying to listen to it. I didn't end up listening to the whole thing, but about speaking no more.
Yeah, it's a Long Cohen song.
Will be still. Yeah, it kind of seems interesting. Let's see.
I still haven't looked that up.
Yeah, no, I just listened to part of it.
The original Lauren Cohen song seems more like a love song, but then they were saying the cover of it sounds like they say "My Lord" at the end, which I don't think is in the original one, but I haven't had any time to look that up.
I don't know. I just know it was talking about
if it be your will that
more,
I say
more, my voice be still and everything.
Yeah.
It might have just been he was dying. Either way, it was a pretty song.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Yeah, he writes some good ones. Some jaunty numbers. Yep. Leonard Cohen.
I'd have to re-listen to it, and I need to look at that list. They bring Kenny brings Jade into the house. The only other thing I say is they're reading Chromonocle they're on chapter 3, I think is interesting because this is episode 3, and they're like, let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
It made me kind of wonder.
It's because it's the beginning of their Chromonocle story. I thought that was so fitting, like this is the beginning of their story. So that was cool.
Yeah, I do think that was, especially because they were on chapter 3, I think was interesting because it's episode 3.
And then there's a cat. There's a cat on a summer's day laying in the sun in a beautiful green shire.
Yeah. Not sure that means anything, but I don't know.
I don't know. Nobody says there's a cat in From. There it is right there. There's a cat.
Yeah, right. I have the last thing I have in my notes that I noticed and I wanted to ask you guys about is whenever Frank's in the box, he starts like freaking out. Like he's looking at the monsters that are maybe coming and they're whispering, which we talked about before. They don't do now, but they're like, oh, they're whispering. And he starts like grabbing his head and freaking out. Do you think the voices are talking to him? Because that was immediately what I thought when he started grabbing his head. Like, I'm like, why is he freaking out? And I'm like, I wonder if he can hear them, like just like Sarah or something. And before they kill him, maybe they're like teasing him and telling him all the things they're going to do to him or something.
Yeah, I think maybe the voices are talking to him. That's possible. I mean, or it could have just been the whispering from the monsters that he was covering his head for
because like Sarah doesn't. Randall puts his hands on his head.
Yeah, that's an
interesting observation.
He was really freaking out. Like he didn't to me just seem like I'm scared they're going to kill me. Like he seemed like something was freaking him out.
Yeah.
Well, they could be. Yeah, Dieter's right. They could be just torturing him with the whispering. But I just thought maybe they were more, like I said, saying something, maybe telling him what they were going to do. I don't know. Yeah. It doesn't matter because they never bring it back up. I just just like how you said last week that you thought that Kenny's father could hear the voices. It just made me wonder if maybe
if they can imitate voices like Kenny's dad's brothers, then maybe they're imitating Lauren and Megan's voices and driving them crazy.
Yeah, that could be that too. Either way, I just wondered if maybe they were communicating with them. And
that's possible. Yeah, that's a good observation for sure. Yeah, we know like this place loves psychological torture, so it could have done that. Something could have been communicating too.
Yeah, they definitely could have. But like I said, since they never mentioned again, we'll never know. I just, the way they did it made me wonder. And I think if you hadn't said that about Kenny's father, I probably wouldn't have even thought of it. But it kind of reminded me of it. So, yeah. Well, we are moving into the second hour. If you are still listening to us, thank you. Please take a minute to like and subscribe to this channel and check out Julie's channel, which is in the description, and subscribe to hers as well, and hit those notification bells for both channels. And and make sure I'll put the Discord link up again. Make sure that you join the Discord at some point because we have the Rewatch watch parties on Saturday night at 8 prior to us having these live streams on Sunday night, and other fun stuff. We might do some other watch parties. But well, I don't know if it's because there's another watch party, but our chat's like kind of quiet tonight compared to normal.
Yeah, there's the holiday coming up, and
maybe people are just tired like me. I feel like I'm like, oh, I just can't think. Like it's just been a long week.
There's a watch party going on, so there's just a lot of stuff going on.
There's a good amount of people here. They're just not as chatty. Some people are. I don't mean nobody is, but there's some people that are chatty. But usually there's more people talking. I don't know. You guys have any more notes? I'm out of notes that I actually wrote in there, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can think of. There's Will. Hello. I don't know. What do you guys? You got any notes on the episode? Anything particular that stuck out we didn't mention?
Let me see. Let me look at my own notes here.
Yeah, I'd probably do the same.
Yeah.
Because I don't want us to just not talk, and I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to see if there's anything. I mean, I didn't write super long notes, but I think I've mentioned everything that I had written out. I think I went through it all.
let's see. I don't know if we. Oh yeah, I had in my notes in the Fatima and Julie scene that she once again is offering her fruit. Julie declines it. She's always declining food. I don't think she's ever actually eaten anything on camera. Actually, just a side note. Like, she always says no to food. But then Fatima says there's an apple tree out back if you prefer that. So that's the second episode in a row that a character that is supposed to kind of symbolize Eve is offering her an apple or forbidden fruit, which symbolizes knowledge. So I thought that was interesting because in episode 2 she had, Fatima was with Julie and she took a big bite out of an apple, offered her an apple, she said no. And yeah, like even Jack Bender in an interview just confirmed what we all figured all along, that the tapestry in Ellis's bedroom is supposed to represent Ellis and Fatima as Adam and Eve. So she's the Eve figure with the forbidden fruit. I love how they did that. And then again, they didn't show the apple this time, but she's like offering her an apple from a whole apple tree, which is like, to me, symbolic of all of the hidden knowledge, the forbidden fruit of this entire place. There's so many revelations that were yet to come in this series that was just starting. I liked how it did that. The show uses a lot of biblical symbolism, and that's just another example of it. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Let's just say I shouldn't have let you find your notes because we could have a small stream.
Yeah.
Well, we were planning to go to 2. I don't know. I'm like reaching here for other stuff to say. My brain isn't working fast enough, so that's why I'm asking you for things. We kind of talked before. Do you think although I don't know that they're going to have it anymore, but do you think they should get rid of the box? Do you think this was a good idea or a bad idea? Or
I think Boyd sure regrets it. I mean, he never thought he'd have to actually use it. He said he built it as a deterrent, and so like he wasn't the one who enforced it. Frank put himself in the box. Frank is the one who elected to do this and not go off in the woods like Boyd offered. So, after this point, Boyd says no one is ever going in the box again, including Sarah. So I definitely think he regrets
he does say that later. I forgot.
Yeah, he regrets it, and yeah, and I could tell he felt really guilty and responsible for it. This whole episode, he was struggling with it, and even right up to the end, he kind of forced himself to look out the window, and he was struggling to make himself do it as the monsters were about to close in on the box. But it's kind of like he was punishing himself by making himself look at it because he felt responsible for building it in the first place. Yeah, I liked that. Like, that really won me over in terms of Boyd's character because, to be honest, I didn't really like him that much. I liked him in episode 2, but in episode 1, I didn't like the way he treated Frank. But I later realized it was projection of his own guilt for not protecting his own family well, and then in this episode, just seeing how much he was struggling with that, it was powerful. It showed his character. He's not a brutal man. He doesn't want to, he's not trying to be like a dictator who is, like marching people to their execution or anything like that. He hated this. He didn't want to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think he's projecting. I agree with you there.
Yeah, and it felt a lot like someone being marched up to a gallows or something. But I mean, it was Frank's choice. The way that he had that walk there with Cautry and Boyd and walked up to the box, but he didn't have to do it. Boyd had given him an out, and he didn't take it. So it was just kind of tragic. Boyd has that on his conscience now. He definitely felt a lot of guilt for having made the box in the first place. So.
Yeah. I would like to see a flashback actually of that happening, of the idea of let's create this thing, and when they put it into play,
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, what? I mean, I would imagine that they probably did it so, like, because maybe people were being foolish and doing negligent things, and people were dying. So, like, he made the box. But it was always meant to be a deterrent. It was never meant to actually be used. But Khatri said, you built a guillotine in the town square. What are people going to think? You built a guillotine in the town square, but you don't have the what is the word he used? The something to use
But he
it.
meant you don't have the balls to use it. Is kind of what he meant. But yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that, like, what are people going to think? That he said the rules that hold this place together are not going to mean anything anymore if you don't enforce it. Which is kind of weird coming from a priest, like pushing for this, but he had a point about that. It's just, it was brutal. And then Boyd had that great scene. You're terrible effing priest, like worst ever. Now I'm cursing in the house of the Lord. I love that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Boyd and Khatri always had great scenes together. It was good that they found a way to keep bringing Khatri back as Ghost Khatri, because that was just such like great chemistry between the two actors, and so like they're never getting rid of that. I'm glad. He'll probably be back.
I like Khatri a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, Will's right. He says a visual deterrent was not enough. Yeah, it definitely wasn't, because clearly it didn't work. But and doesn't work for the rest of the time, considering people continue to die and everything else. Not that it's been necessarily like one person's fault after this, but just in general. I'm gonna really quick swap over to my iPad, so I'll bloop out and back in real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree. A visual deterrent was not enough. Oh yeah, there are two. Jamie's got a twin now.
Clones.
Briefly
no,
cloned.
she's gone. All seeing eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if we wanted to mention the Emily Dickinson poems, or did we just not want to do that?
Oh no, that's a great thing to talk about. Yeah, the hope is a thing with feathers, and yeah.
You couldn't hear me, could you? I'm talking. No, now I got two of them. What did I do? There. Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's keeping both of them there. I don't know why it's not. It might be because the other one's hosting it. Maybe it won't let me for some reason remove it, because I've removed it before, but probably it was when Karen or AJ was in there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm hurting from falling.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I need to move and sit on the couch, but I'm still here.
Mm-hmm.
We were just saying, like there was an Emily Dickinson poem that Scarlett just mentioned, that it's actually two that were technically featured in the diner, but it was mostly just hope is a thing with feathers. But then there was one line of what is the other one, Scarlett?
Forever is forever. What is it? Forever
composed of nows.
Consisting of nows.
Yeah, forever is composed of nows. That was it.
And where? Remind me where these were at. Were these like? Because I don't remember.
It was in the diner, in the background behind the counter, where like in a diner people would normally write today's specials or something.
Oh, it was written. Okay.
Yeah, it was up there, and it said, let me see if I have it somewhere. I have it somewhere in my notes. Where is it? I know it said hope is a thing with feathers, but then I don't have the rest of the poem. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I have it. I'm just trying to find it.
Yeah.
Well, there were bird references in this one again, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is.
Hope is obviously a huge theme.
It's hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me.
Yeah, I love that. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And there was up there in the diner. So yeah, I think it speaks
to a lot of things to do with hope in this show.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the other one. That's the last line on the one side, which is like forever is composed of nows, which seems like something that somebody was just trying to remember Dickinson poetry in their head, like by rote. But this one goes, and it kind of goes with time travel. So, future Julie. Forever is composed of nows, 'tis not a different time, except for infinites and latitudes of home. From this experienced here, remove the dates to these. Let months dissolve in further months, and years exhale in years. Without debate or pause or celebrated days, no different from our years would be from Anno Domine's. I like that one.
Yeah, those are pretty poems. But you make me wonder though when you say what is it? What did you say it was? Forever is composed of nows.
Yeah.
Something like that. It makes me think of Colony House, like how they say that they live for now because tomorrow might not come.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Or story walking.
Or story walking. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I just thought of something. I think maybe they used both poems because each of them is supposed to represent one is supposed to represent the town and one is supposed to represent Colony House, and the two different philosophies, because in the town during the choosing ceremony they said, we live by the rules of the town, so that we could all, in the hope that we go home one day or something like that. So they still have hope that they're going to make it home one day, and so they're trying to live by certain rules as a result of that. And then Colony House is all about for today because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. That would be forever is composed of nows, and the town's philosophy would be hope is a thing with feathers. So that makes perfect sense, actually, that the two would be there.
Yeah.
Which would make more sense of Void because of that poem and the rook meaning a crow.
Yeah.
maybe Void does have some bird imagery to him. I'm not 100%.
Yeah. It's fitting. I love how that was done, actually. Now it just clicked in my head. That makes perfect sense that they put both of them there and jumbled them together like that. I do find it a little odd that that there was just that one line from Forever is composed of nows, and most of it was hope is a thing with feathers. But maybe they're just trying to make a statement on how naturally the side that's more hopeful would have more of the poem there, and the other half would just be like, oh,
and we quit. We're gonna go do something instead of writing the poem. Right? We don't have time for this.
Yeah, it kind of fits.
Yeah. The more I do think about this episode, though, I do think it's more kind of to show, like I was complaining the choosing ceremony doesn't seem like it's something they even care about, but I do think it's more to show the difference in the people more than anything else, and their philosophies and the way that they are living there in the town. Which I think a lot of that does really go to shit once people start dying all the time, Like, I think they all know that they're losing hope probably at that point. So, I don't know. Everybody got quiet at the same time. Happens all the time.
I was just kind of looking at the chat and then looking at my notes.
That's fine. Will says, forever is composed of nows. If you sleep, is it not the sense of time travel? I just finished a show where a child created an entire pocket dimension from his dreams. It was goofy, but the concept. Oh, what's the show? That sounds interesting. I want to know what the show is, but yeah, that's kind of interesting. But yes, dream is in a way, well, anything can happen in a dream. I mean, time is kind of irrelevant in a dream a lot of times. And no, that's Facebook ping. Somebody messaged me. Julie disappeared. What happened? Whoops. She'll come back. Something happened. But yeah, I don't know. I got quiet too. I'm trying to think. Like, I'm like,
yeah, I don't know. Sometimes she has problems. I mean, sometimes StreamYard can just like object, forcibly.
Yeah, it might have just ejected her. Well, I didn't. At any rate, I didn't eject her. So.
Yeah. One time she left, and it was just me and a black screen, this talking thing, hoping that people could hear my audio.
Yeah, I know you sometimes have audio problems. I don't know. Right now
Yeah.
I'm having a brain fart. I'm like, I don't, my
Oh,
brain
no.
isn't working. Wait, let me add. Okay,
Yeah.
add. There we go. There you go.
There
Sorry.
you go. There she is.
Sorry, my
Welcome back.
Chromebook died. I forgot to plug it in.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
she went. Amy says you went into a time portal.
Well, that happens.
Yeah, no, yeah.
You had to
it's-
drop a rope or something?
Yeah, I had to
Speaking of,
go.
I should make sure mine's charged. You said that. I'm like, I better look at how charged my iPad is. since
Yeah, I
moved
have
it.
to do that too because I have a faulty cord and it'll be like, oh, it's 10%. I gotta, plug it in.
And
I think it's
not
plugged in. I look
charging
and it's
half
like
the time.
1%, and then I'm
I
like,
hate
oh, now
that.
it's dead.
Yeah.
Dieter and his emojis. Brain fart.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
theoried out. I'm trying to think of what else to say about this episode. Yeah, there's a lot of good things about the episode, but I'm not sure I got anything else theory wise I pulled out. Well, Julie, you got a lot in your notes. What other things? What else did you pull from it?
Let's see. Okay, I got my notes back now. Hold on, it's loading. Yeah, waiting for it to
Lovely.
load.
I think my brain has been too much on hurrying up and getting everything ready for Christmas mode.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Yeah.
like, it's hard.
Well,
to
we can make this one shorter.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, we can if we have nothing else to say. I just meant
Yeah.
that she probably has more notes than I do because I'm not sure what else to bring up. So I'm trying to think of what else to talk about. What do you think? They did talk about. It's kind of funny that we're on this episode this week, considering they mentioned Christmas in this episode.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
Yes,
Very from Christmas.
indeed.
I'd like
Most
to see
depressing
how
Christmas episode.
they. Yeah, I know, right? I'd like to see how they celebrate though. There, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, but maybe Frank will see his family in heaven for Christmas.
Yes, probably.
Yeah, that was
How they
a
saw it.
bummer.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
if they
no, it
celebrate
was-
any holidays, but the timeline's only been a month. So
That's a good point.
or how do they tell time? Like we were talking about the calendar before. How do you know when the holiday's coming up? But they do have the anniversary though. So they are
Right,
counting time
Fatima's
somehow.
anniversary.
Yeah, because they have
Yeah.
parties when people reach their first year and they haven't died.
Yeah, they probably have
Congratulations.
keep some kind of track of things, and it probably depends when new people show up too. Like you may lose track of things, but if somebody shows up, they would be like, "Oh, well, this is the date it is," and then you'd be
Mhm.
like, "Oh yeah, I was off by a couple days" or something like that.
Yeah.
Or you could just arbitrarily decide this day is going to be Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess you would have to make your own holidays.
Yeah,
And most of them are around surviving. Like, yay,
Yeah.
you're a dream catcher, you made it.
Yeah. It's like weird thing to celebrate the anniversary of when you got stuck here. But they it's all about how you like the glass being half full, like this is how they adapt and survive. So I get why they do that. And yeah, I had some other stuff in my notes that I don't think we touched on, like certain comments that people made. Tabitha running out of the house when they were looking at it with Katri, the house they're going to live in. She's like, I can't do that right now. Jim said, you make it seem like we have a choice. And it's like foreshadowing that, no, she doesn't have a choice. Like Jade later told her in season 3, you were always going to end up here no matter what you did. Like he talked about free will. He said maybe Aristotle was wrong and there isn't free will. You were always going to end up here. She didn't have a choice. So again,
that was a little bit of foreshadowing there.
Yeah, and this episode is called Choosing Day. It kind of means more than one thing, like they have to choose where they're going to live. Frank chooses to go in the box versus, going off in the
I hadn't
woods.
thought about that. That's totally true.
Yeah. So it's there's more than one choice going on for sure. Boyd has to make a choice, whether or not to enforce that rule or not. He chooses to give Frank an out. So like multiple people are making choices in this episode and make huge choices that really speak to their character. The fact that Boyd showed mercy, tried to give Frank an out, that showed his character. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I like how they do that. Sometimes titles mean more than one thing. They have multiple meanings.
Yeah, definitely.
And Jim is, of course, invalidating Tabitha's feelings, which is it becomes a thing.
That's
She's.
just how Jim is.
I thought it was really bizarre, actually, how easily he accepted everything. Like he just says,
It
"Well,
was a bit. I actually think Jade not accepting things right away is actually a little more realistic in a way. Like I don't know that I would necessarily think it's a game, but the people do kind of accept it too. And I get why they do. It's a TV show, but I mean, if that happened to you, like, would you believe it, or would you think something was really messed up? I think like I took drugs accidentally or something. Like somebody drugged me, and
Yeah.
nothing was making sense. I don't know that I'd believe. Oh yeah, I'm in a town I can never go home, and there's monsters that come out at night. Like you have a hard time accepting it.
oh, absolutely, yeah." And Tabitha had a much more realistic reaction. They saw the house, and she freaked out and said, "This is effing insane. That woman
Yeah,
and
I
her
can't
little
do that.
girl were ripped apart." And Jim said, "You heard what the priest said. If they'd followed the rules, they'd still be alive now." Like he just accepted, like this is how it is. And she says, "Why are you so eager to take any of this at face value?" Uh, but he says, "Whatever it is, this is real. We are stuck, so we better find a way to make the best of it because we don't want to end up like,
Yeah,
in
and he
the house."
more, I guess it's supposed to be too that he more experienced it in the sense that he was in the RV out in the woods and heard everything. So it was more real to him. So I
Yeah,
kind of buy it a little bit, but
he was just so
I,
calm about it,
he
It's
was. But I
weird.
still wonder that that line wasn't foreshadowing like him not following the rules. But I
Yeah,
don't know. I tend to think though, so much of that stuff was probably not written when they did season one, so it may just be absolutely nothing to do with it. Although something like that, like knowing they were going to kill Jim, I mean, they could have planned it back then, but
oh,
not knowing
absolutely.
how they were going to do it. But I don't know. Just now watching it in retrospect, it makes me think of that.
I think they definitely planned on killing Jim eventually, so I think they foreshadowed it early on, and so yeah, I think that does foreshadow it. And episode one had lots of foreshadowing about Jim possibly being, ultimately dying here. But like the other thing I thought was weird, why did Jim have so little issue with? Why did he accept it so easily that Julie was going to live at Colony House? He was like trying to make Tabitha stop freaking out, and like he didn't push back on him. And yet later, this is the same guy who hauled Victor violently out of the diner for talking to Ethan. It doesn't really make sense. It's like inconsistent behavior.
I mean, I don't know unless it's just kind of like she gets that he gets that she's a teenager and that's how she's acting out. And he's kind of like, I mean, like I said, I tend to think that if they had listened to Julie and let her go with him, that she may not have made that choice. He may also be seeing it and thinking if we keep fighting her, she's just going to rebel even more, like just accept it and she'll calm down type of thing too. I don't know. It depends, I guess, how their relationship is, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Um, and they also mentioned in this episode too that they don't know where the cows and the chickens come from. Like they just show up. Jade's like, you know, he says, "My nightmares don't usually serve breakfast. Suppose you're gonna tell me you got chickens roaming around in the big bad forest." And again, he says big bad forest, which is an interesting choice of words because the forest seems to be kind of almost a character in itself, like part of the big bad, like it's almost alive, sentient. They say things like later on, Sarah says to Boyd, like, the boy in white told her in her head, Nathan was right. This place is angry now. This place is angry now. So it's like the forest is kind of alive. And like an Abby later tells Boyd, the fake Abby, that is, she later says that, it's not your fear that feeds the forest, it's hope.
Yeah.
So it's like the forest is kind of part of the big
The
bad.
character, yeah.
And,
I like
yeah.
I didn't realize though that when Jade said that, it didn't hit me until you're just saying it now that he doesn't know that there is cows and chickens.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You're gonna tell me about that," but he's like, "Oh yeah, we have." It's basically what he said. He's like, "Oh yeah, but we don't know where they come from."
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
He said it so nonchalantly too. Like, yeah, we don't know where they come from. Like, okay, they just show up in the woods. Yeah, that's normal. Livestock just show up in the woods. Yeah. So I thought that was funny.
I'm
Yeah.
laughing at T5 said, "I told you Jim wanted to get his freak on and send Ethan downstairs." Yeah, I'm not sure about Colony House. I don't know. I just couldn't get over the fact, like, I get that they're supposed to be. This is where they just like. Obviously, people have sex out in the open in that place because of the kind of place that they were. At least they were trying to say back then it was. They sort of changed it. But the fact that like the little kids in the next room, I still have a big problem with that. Like I would think, and I guess I could be wrong, I don't know, but I would think that most people, if they were going to do that, would have at least not done it in the room next to like the little kid that was there. Like really, you have no sense of decency?
I know, right?
Like if it was in front of Julie, it would be bad enough, but like at least Julie's like a teenager. That kid doesn't even wouldn't even understand what you're doing. Like he's how old?
I know, right?
Yeah. Dieter, maybe the trees moved the tent. Maybe they're like, like from what's it from Lord of the Rings, like the trees that are sentient. Yeah, maybe they moved it.
Yeah, I think they might. They might be. You know, the way they talk about the forest here, that the trees are moving. That means that's a bad thing. It seems kind of like the forest is sentient or alive.
Yeah, and yeah, I know they changed the whole Colony House thing.
Yeah, it was supposed to be wilder. Yeah, for sure. It was supposed to be like yeah, like a huge party all the time. And yeah, they allude to the fact that that stuff's going on. In season 3, Kenny said like, "You're not still having those sex parties at Colony House, are you?" but they just don't show it. I think that was a smart decision not to waste screen time on that.
I don't even know that it really is necessary either. Like I guess some of it's accurate. Like I'm sure that there are people there having sex, but like get a room, go up in a separate room. But I guess they can't. There's not enough room there, right? They're all in the same room with like people laying on the floor.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. Like you couldn't control yourself with a child 10 feet away. Just one night.
Yeah.
Oh,
or at least like dressed under the covers where nobody sees you, not just like sitting there naked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was crazy to me. And the way the camera slowly panned across, you see all that debauchery going on, and then this sleeping family 10 feet away.
Yeah, I just think they could have, like, I get the point they were trying to make, but I feel like they could have done it a little bit different. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. It just was a little weird to me. That they did it that way. And I forget what I was going to say. Yeah, it's not so important to the story. That's what I said. Like, that they're having sex, but we don't need to necessarily see it everywhere. Like Kenny making a joke about it, like that. Okay, that was fine and that worked. Like they could have even done that in the beginning. It would have been a little. It just seemed like it was kind of because we hadn't seen them there before out of nowhere. But I do get the opinion, considering like that they grow their own pot and stuff. It might not just be the sex. They're probably in there smoking pot all the time too. And
oh yeah, for sure. Drinking like I don't know. I guess they make their own alcohol just like they do at the bar.
So there's probably lots of debauchery over at Colony House. I'm just not sure it's necessary to show it. Oh God, no, that was not Donna and Tim.
No.
That was not them.
This is some
potato
random
vodka. Yeah, I think they did say potato vodka at some point, didn't they?
They did. Yep. And then at the end, when they were welcoming Julie, it looked like a rowdy party was about to happen. Everybody raised their glasses or their bottles.
Yeah, I was wondering, are they giving her alcohol?
Right? It kind of looked like it. She's like, as we do, like everybody raises their glasses and like to welcome Julie, and it just felt kind of wrong. This is an underage girl here. This isn't the kind of person you should be welcoming into your rowdy, boozy party.
That's why I kind of like wonder, and we talk about them having the choice in that Boyd's like you all have to say it. Like I kind of wonder it wouldn't have even just made in the scheme of real life, not in the scheme of a TV show, but in real life, just have taken the whole family and put them there as soon as the parents made the decision, because really it shouldn't have been their decision if they're that young.
That was crazy. Like. Yeah. Boyd having like Ethan, he even asked Ethan, and what if Ethan had said Colony House? What would they have done?
Like, yeah, they wouldn't have known what to do. I think at that point.
Yeah, I think it's weird that Boyd made those rules.
Yeah, because Donna said, "This is your rules, not mine, Sheriff."
Mhm.
What?
I think maybe it's more, and I could be wrong, but maybe it's also more about giving people a choice so they feel like, because they're come here and it's like you said with Tabitha, like you even said that Jim said, we don't have a choice. This is what we have to do. It may even be just more about making people feel like they're making a choice, like they have some control over the situation.
Right.
So
Right.
that's why they give everybody a choice. And they don't necessarily intend that like that would happen and they'd split a family up like that. They assume that Julie would have said the same thing, so they didn't really think about it, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's strange. Like, just imagine if Ethan had said Colony House and he moves in up there. Like, it's just crazy. Like, then what? It's kind of like he built the box as a deterrent and just hoped assumed he'd never have to use it. Maybe he assumed a kid wouldn't choose Colony House and stay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it might have just been more about the illusion of a choice than an actual choice more than anything. But like I said, I get why she's like said it, and it makes sense. I mean, she's a rebelling teenager, but she's still I think that's too why we forget. Like she's supposed to be younger than I feel like. Like I know she's that young, but I don't think of her always that young. Like because she's sort of at that age where she's, I guess, almost an adult. So, or at least makes you feel like she's close to it. I guess she's really not if she's like 15 and 16. But
Yeah,
Right.
and the actress is older, so that's always a factor.
yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I think a lot of times you more see it as what the performers are than what the character is. But Will said one thing though that's true. If this was on HBO, it would be a near porno.
Oh,
That's because on HBO it's a requirement to have naked people, I think, in shows. I remember like Westworld. Like Westworld was such a good show, but there was like randomly naked people everywhere for no reason. Like I get when they had like them naked as robots because it made sense. But a lot of times there was like orgies and just things going on for absolutely no reason, and it's just.
I think you might be thinking True Blood instead.
No, that wasn't. It was in True Blood too. But no, I was thinking.
Well, I mean that one guy,
Westworld.
Logan in Westworld. Yeah, I get it, but it's just I always thought the nudity was meant to be like the opposite of titillation.
Yeah, maybe. But no, I remember there was one scene where, and I can't think of her name, but the main girl when she went in with Logan.
Dolores?
So, yeah, Dolores. When it was like after the boxcar or whatever, when they were like at a party type thing.
You don't care about spoilers, do you, Julie? You haven't seen it?
Well, no, this isn't really relevant. I'm just saying about there was like an orgy or something going on. I can't remember. It was I'm pretty sure it was Westworld.
Oh, in that city.
Yeah, but that is my point though. What he's saying is true though. Like if you watch it, you'll be seeing something. There's like this completely gratuitous scene that has no point. It's like, oh yeah, right. I forgot.
Well, it has a point because Westworld is where rich people come to party. Anything goes.
That's true. That's true. But I guess I'm kind of like I know that. I don't know that I need to see it every 2 seconds, but.
Well, they were showing, especially through Logan, that he was just the opposite of William.
Whoops, wrong thing. I clicked the. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That he was like the wild roller, and William was the more straight laced one. And why would you be straight laced here? Etc.
That is true. That is true.
I like Logan. He was like my favorite character in Westworld.
Yeah,
so
Logan
take that with what you will. Ben
no, he looks so cool. I feel like that sometimes though. Like I'll be watching something and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It's HBO. Like it's HBO. Whether you're a fan or not. But
yeah, but I think there's a difference between like some kind of planned program thing with robots doing it versus True. Well, I guess True Blood was the same thing because like the Menad or whatever controlled them and made them all. Like, what?
What'd you say? Say that again. I didn't hear what you said.
Like, oh god, now I have to go from the beginning.
No, I just didn't hear what you said.
Like Westworld, it was more like they were robots being controlled by something more. And I was contrasting with True Blood, saying that they were free, but they weren't really free because when they had an orgy in True Blood, it was the Menad like controlling everything and making everything more around Bacchus and celebrating and doing all that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
So they're about the same.
Yeah, but either way, lots of nakedness.
I don't mind nakedness, so I don't know.
No, I don't mind
I'm
nakedness.
fine with
I just sometimes it seems like it doesn't need to be there, and it's there for the point of being just to be there. You know what I mean? Like at least have a reason in the story. Sometimes it feels like it's not. I don't know.
Well, I think originally, because in the original script, they wanted to make from more like, Colony House, more like an opium den.
No, yeah, no, I get what they were. That's why I said I get what they were going for. I just don't know that it's necessary because it's not part of. I guess, the story now. Like it's kind of irrelevant. So it just seems odd that it was there, I think, because it's not in there now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed to be a little bit more debaucherous in the first season.
Yeah. But I get it though. I mean, probably it would. I mean, that's kind of the point of their philosophy. Like, we're going to die anyway, so we might as well just enjoy ourselves, type of thing. So I get why they put it in there, but I just don't know that they really needed it. But they didn't keep it up, so it just was weird with Ethan. I don't know. It was weird and creepy. But I guess that was the point, right? It was supposed to be weird and creepy. So yeah. What else? I lost my train of thought now because we started talking about all the naked people. What were we even talking about? There was a point to that conversation, I thought, somewhere.
Nudity's fine.
Yeah.
Nudity's how we were born and how we come into the world naked.
Sounds good. Why don't I?
Why is nudity so bad? Really?
Yeah.
Puritan culture.
Right. Let's see. Never. Let's
Smiling on pilgrim hat, everyone.
You're going down with that ship, huh?
In my head, Smiley's in a pilgrim hat, and then we got the 3 bugs going on.
And the spider bear, or whatever it was, I forget.
Oh no! Now totally future Julie's a spider. I don't know. Maybe Marty's a spider, but there's definitely a spider, a cicada, and a butterfly involved in this.
Yeah, the trio. But I was just gonna say, might as well say, the one thing I can say is, since we're at the past 2.5 hour mark. So if you are still here with us, make sure that if I can get my stupid chat there, I couldn't get my cursor there. I'm putting another Discord link. Now that I'm on my iPad, I had to create a new permanent link. But make sure that you take time, if you haven't, to join the Discord, because we have our rewatch party on Saturdays at 8 in order to prepare for these episodes. Where there are these streams that on Sunday when we talk about the rewatched episode. And make sure you take time to like and subscribe, and check out Julie's channel too, which is in the description of the video. Yeah, we got a bit left. What else, guys? I can go till 2 if we got stuff to talk about, but we're kind of running on empty. I feel like we're going in circles. I just find it funny, the chat's like kind of quiet. Like there's people here. There's a good bit of people here. They're just more quiet tonight. Like I said, I think it's just like everybody's tired from the holiday coming, I think.
Yeah, I think so. There were other things like I noticed. Let me see. Did we say anything about the dream Tabitha had at the beginning of the episode? Did we hit on that at all? I don't remember now.
We did not, Julie.
Okay. Yeah. She had a dream about the night before with the monsters on the porch advancing toward her. And she sees the bride monster in front, which is not really the view that we saw in episode 2. It was like, it was different. Like the teen boy was there the whole time. In her version of it, the bride was in front, and it looks kind of like a pregnant bride. And then there's like the teen boy way in the back. Then like she looks again, and teen boy is advancing toward Julie. That she wakes up, from the nightmare, which I just thought was kind of interesting. And for one thing, again, why, like, this is the same thing. Same goes for episode 2 on this. How did the bride even get there so fast? The bride was also outside the RV. So it's like, do they have like do they teleport? Do they, just like go through a tree and pop up like near there? I mean, maybe, but like I always thought that was weird. The fact that she's a pregnant bride, something I never noticed on the first watch, which is weird. A pregnant bride monster. Was she pregnant when she was turned into a monster? That's kind of strange.
Maybe Tabby was pregnant with Julie when she got married to Jim.
Yeah, maybe.
It's her dream.
Maybe that's why she's
that's true. I guess the big question is, was she pregnant when you saw her last time when it wasn't her dream?
Oh, I think she was. Yeah, I think.
So that part may have nothing to do with Tabby. It's just what she noticed. But yeah, I don't know. Will's asking what's the nature of dreams. I don't know. I think like I feel like if it's a dream, it's not like anything can have happened in it, so it doesn't have to make sense. So I don't know that that part's even. I mean, like it's interesting to talk about, but is something she saw in her dream relevant? Like, is it important? I don't know because it's a dream type of thing.
Yeah, yeah. It was just interesting. She
Oh,
had a different view of it than Julie did. Yeah.
sorry, you were asking me that. Got for anybody who didn't see it, the StreamYard link should be pinned at the top of the. I can
Oh,
see it
okay.
from my YouTube window. So yeah, if people
Oh,
if you
there
want
it
to
is.
join
Yeah,
our
I couldn't see
discussion,
it. That's right. I wasn't in YouTube, so I couldn't see it.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
is there.
yeah, it is. So if anybody wants to join our discussion, like and talk out loud, feel free to use the streamer and jump in. Just if we don't know who you are, make sure you say stuff in the chat that you're doing it so we know you're legit. Um, yeah, still Will says something has been said is that dreams are alternate versions of ourselves. Like an alternate reality, maybe?
Yeah, yeah. Could be. Could be. Um, she did see it like a little differently than the way like we saw it in episode 2. So, and that could have been just an accidental because it's just a dream and it doesn't have to make sense. But it was
Yeah, where they
interesting.
just had multiple versions of the people on the porch and they just
Right.
like took one of the clips and stuck it as their dream and had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Amy's saying that it's tapping into your subconscious. Some people believe you or that you're traveling. I don't know. I just always remember I don't know, pops into my head is the X-File quote. It's, dreams are the answers to questions you have yet figured out how to ask. That's what I always
Yeah.
I don't know that it's relevant, but it's what I thought of when he said that. So
Yeah, yeah. Oh, did we mention Sarah and Nathan? Because they had a scene in this too.
I don't think we did.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, more weird incesty vibes. Like he like runs down to the diner and wants to know why she went to work because she promised she'd stay home. She's like, if she didn't show up, they'd wonder why. And she says, "I want to help. I need to help." And then she touches his face. It's weird and
Yeah.
creepy.
It is. I don't know that it's supposed to be, but it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. And also like, yeah, I believe her though that she wants to help. She does feel really bad about what she did, obviously.
Yeah, and I don't think she wanted to do it, but she did it. So
but yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know, he doesn't trust her to be there. Like,
well, he's probably like, why are you here after you just killed their family? I don't
right, yeah, she just shows up for work the next day.
Yeah, maybe he's also afraid that he might just be afraid that she'll let it out that she did it, and he doesn't want them to put her in the box too. It could be that simple. Like he wants to make sure she keeps quiet about it.
Yeah.
But he does tell Cautry, so I don't know.
Yeah, he eventually does. Yeah, he like, I think it finally just kind of overcomes him later that, he knows she might hurt somebody again, and so he finally breaks down and tells. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's a very protective brother. So maybe it wasn't intentional that it was creepy, but a lot of people got that vibe watching them.
Yeah,
Weird.
I think maybe if there hadn't been the whole scene where she got out of the shower the way she did and hugged him, maybe it wouldn't have felt so weird. Like I feel like that led into it. But that scene was a little weird too. And it might just be the way that it was filmed. It just felt that way. I don't know that it was supposed to mean anything, but it does seem sort of incesty a little bit. And Golden Child's right that they act like they maybe came from some type of cult before they wound up in there. I would like to know more of her backstory, what happened. I definitely think she was abused or something. And I think even Avery had said something like that. But
yeah. Yeah, I think she shows signs of trauma because she later talks about her ex and that it's better he's not here, but she won't say any more than that. So I
did
think
she say it's her ex or did we assume it was her ex? I'm trying to remember because I feel like maybe part of that was an assumption, but I can't remember for sure.
I think I think she said her ex, or I'm not 100% though. I don't know if I can't remember if she said her
So I'm
boyfriend.
thinking
Or
maybe
her
she said she ran away from someone or something, and we just all assumed that. I can't remember. It was when she was talking to Elgin in church, I think. So it's not till next season, but
I mean, she either referred to him as her ex or her boyfriend. I know it was her, like someone she was with. That much I remember.
okay.
And she just said, someone asked like where she is, and she just said it's better he's not here, and then like shut down, which is a trauma response.
No,
So,
yeah, definitely. I just for some reason was thinking it could have been her father or something, and we didn't know. But I don't remember. I'm not remembering the details. I'd have to go back. But when we get there, we'll see it.
she said like Nathan saved her, she, like used the word saved, and then he
Yeah.
was taking her to live with him in Boston. So she was running away from something bad.
And she
Right,
did
but that's what I'm saying.
mention-
Like, it could have even been like an abusive father or something. But if she said it was her ex, then I don't know because I don't remember.
Yeah, it might be he in a way. That seems like it's a relationship.
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
recall
We don't get enough backstory on so many of these people. It's like I wish we had more. And then
her arrival would be nice. A flashback to her arrival would be enlightening. You know, I would like to see that, but I don't know. At this point, I don't think we're ever going to get more flashbacks to people's arrivals. Well, maybe. You never know.
maybe, but I don't know. I feel like there's so much, and I don't know clearly because we don't know the story, but it feels like there's a lot more than 20 hours left of the story to tell, and I don't know how they're going to wrap it up that fast. Like, I know they've said they intend for 5 seasons, and I guess they probably won't go beyond that, but I just wonder that they can like satisfactory get everything in it. Like I'd like them to have more episodes at least, so we could have a couple that are flashbacks or are of the town, like outside the town, or because like we want to see that. But I've said before, like if they focus like a couple episodes on that, then we'd be complaining we don't get enough of the main story. So I just don't see it happening.
Especially with the additions to the cast. Like, there's so many people now that there isn't enough screen time for everybody.
Too big of an ensemble. And Will's asking, what's his 20-hour business? I just meant 2 seasons. 10. I'm assuming they'll still be 10 episodes apiece. I don't know. That's just an assumption. But if they're the same they've been, then there's 20 hours left.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I agree. We need at least 15 episodes a season. I agree. Do at least 15, and then we'll call it a day.
That would be helpful.
But hey, I guess the big thing is let's just hope we at least get the 2 seasons. That's the important part, right? Worry about the number of the episodes later. I mean, I'm sure that I would think they would renew it for the final season, but I mean that's not to say they couldn't change what they said and have a 6th season. I just usually if they say we're wrapping it too, that's probably what's going to happen. But it just seems like it just hit its momentum. It's sad that like it's already on the. I don't want to say to decline. I don't mean it like it's declining, but I mean it's already on like the it's past the halfway point, and it's now when it's getting popular, which sucks. Like because it wasn't so popular in the beginning, but. Yeah, Stargate length seasons would be nice. They're never going to do those length of seasons anymore. They just don't. Ever since the strike back when Lost was on, pretty much nothing is that many episodes a season. Because it used to be most shows were like 20 some, and they just were, and everything was. That's how TV was.
Yeah, it was just linked to syndication.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, they had to get, it was something like they had to get either at least 5 seasons or at least 100 episodes, I think, get syndicated or something like that.
And I think it's like 22, 23, because that's half the year and they can show those episodes twice in syndication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But syndication doesn't really happen much. I guess it still does, but doesn't at the same time.
It does, but I don't know that there isn't exactly syndication because you don't need syndication because they're streamed. Yeah. But yes, certain networks.
Or people just sell a whole series to a streaming service or have it on different streaming services instead of syndicating it to channels.
And different people feel different. I know. Like I know AJ and Karen will argue with me sometimes. Like they would rather there be like short, concise seasons that don't have fillers. Me, like if there's a couple extra filler episodes that aren't as good as the rest, like I still would rather have more episodes as long as you still get the good episodes, you know? Like if it's extra, it's still extra. Like they don't all have to be. I don't know. That's my
Or
personal.
you can do those like cool episodes like Breaking Bad's Fly episode, where it's just two people talking most of the time.
I don't know what that is, but yeah. I mean, I haven't
Okay,
heard.
like let's imagine an episode and it's like kind of almost like a standalone, except it has a few plot points, but it's just two people talking about stuff. It's like a set piece.
Oh, okay, like sort of like a bottle episode, but
Yeah, exactly, a bottle episode. You got it.
yeah, yeah. Now I've heard that, but yeah,
I don't think
yes,
Prom could have any of those.
yeah, yeah, it's true. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, well, they could be locked in the diner or something. They were that one time, that whole episode, or have it like take place real time or something, you know. But yeah, I think that it would be nice to have, even if they're standalones. I agree, but yeah, you're saying Disney 6 episodes. That's like a lot of times things that aren't American are like BBC and stuff. Those kind of things are usually really super short too. That's just the way it is now, but I wish there was more. I don't think there's enough. Like this has such a huge ensemble. They have so much that they could do with backstory and make it even more rich to have space for that. But like you said before, yeah, why not have like a one-off episode that, even if it doesn't per se have any new events, it could be like something we've already seen from the monster's point of view or from outside the town or something. It would be cool. But yeah, it's not going to happen. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll pop up, next year and say, we decided we need 3 seasons instead of 2. Can hope.
This season has 22 episodes.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Well, I assume that since they've said 5 seasons, they probably already have it outlined the way they plan to do it.
Yeah.
What is it with these people on Twitch advertising, man? Quit jumping in my chat just to advertise. we know
really?
you're a scammer. We're not stupid.
Yeah. Huh. I've never been on Twitch, so I don't know.
Yeah, there's we get 1 or 2 views on Twitch. So if you're on Twitch, hi. Thank you for watching.
I saw one earlier. I saw one earlier and I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Oh yeah, that. Yeah, for some reason I don't know if the ones that are posting that are the ones that I see that show they viewed it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But it does sometimes say we get a couple over there. I don't know. I just link it to all the accounts. I didn't even know anybody would see it on my Twitch. I'm not sure how they've seen it, but appreciate it if they're watching it. No, Will's asking about it. No, they're just we stream this. It's streamed right now. It's currently streaming from StreamYard, and it goes to Facebook, and it goes to YouTube, and it goes to Twitch, and it goes to the NDB media channels at the same time too. And I can see I can't when I'm on the iPad, but when I look at it, I can see where people are watching it from when I'm over at the computer anyway. And usually we do get a couple views on Twitch, which is surprising. Cool. I mean, it's appreciated. It's just surprising. But they didn't see it. I didn't think. You guys can't see it, can you? You can see it because you're in StreamYard. That's why they don't know what we're talking about. I wonder why they didn't know what we were talking about. We're in, long story short, because we're in StreamYard, we see everybody's comments, whether you're telling us from YouTube or Facebook, which, 95% of you are in YouTube right now. So we're seeing everybody's comments, and there's people in Twitch that post a comment and it's like a scammer comment. It's not a real comment. So that's what we were referring to, that you couldn't see. I wonder why everybody's I don't know what you're talking about. I can see
it has a different icon. It has a purple icon instead of a red one.
Yeah, it has a little Twitch icon, but it's just they're trying to advertise, and it pops up. But, but that's
Facebook
cool.
ones.
I don't. It's YouTube's easier to use, but you want to send it everywhere. I like that idea, though. We were talking last night about maybe trying to figure out OBS and streaming it everywhere. We'll see. What are we talking about? Sorry, CT5. I didn't think about the facts since it's because Scarlett, since you saw it too. That's why it didn't occur to me. Nobody else could.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
the two of you can. But yes, that's what we're talking about. It's okay. We know what we're talking about. It wasn't really important. Is there a part
What did you say you were going to use to stream all over the place? What was it? OTS?
OBS.
OBS?
I forgot you weren't in our watch party last night.
Okay.
All City, who surprisingly is not here right now. Usually All City's here.
Okay.
Was telling us about the software so you can send it yourself to all the different places and not pay for it. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
a different way to stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We've just been on this for a while. I like StreamYard though. It's just so expensive.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but it works most of the time.
yeah. Oh,
Un-
speaking
until
of,
it doesn't.
yeah, until it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
I should mention that. I didn't even think I didn't mention that. I'm thinking of it because he's mentioned the podcast. Should mention to people that as far as I know, unless they change something, we just haven't scheduled it yet. Our normal Tuesday night show, the plan is to do it tomorrow night for this week. At 10 p.m. Eastern. Our one where we talk about Silo and Dune, not From, but
Yeah.
we're gonna move it up a day since we don't want to do it on Christmas Eve, and then
Mm-hmm.
probably gonna skip the following week. But we'll be here tomorrow. We just haven't scheduled it because we procrastinate and don't schedule it ahead of time. But that's the plan anyway. Julie disappeared for a little bit.
She may have to feed her cats. They tend to get a little active at this time of night.
That's okay. I'm just trying to think what else. Is there anything?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else to say. Oh, you're up on Dune.
I
Yeah,
don't know. Our channel has Severin watch parties on Thursday night at 10 p.m. EST and Julie's Discord. We're gonna be doing 5 and 6, but you know there's ways you could catch up if you've already seen it, you're already kind of caught up. If you want to talk about, we do a very deep dive afterward at wee hours in the morning, about 12:15 in the morning. But people do show up to the Discord and they call in.
Yeah, I'm thinking honestly, I'm thinking maybe starting next week we could switch nights for do a watch party for Severance one night and do a live another night because maybe more people would come. I don't know. We can talk about that. But for now, this week we're doing that on Thursday, and we still have to figure out what we're doing for our Wednesday stream. It would be Christmas this time, so we have to decide what we're doing. So
yeah, so everybody's streams and stuff are mixed up because of the holiday, basically.
Yep.
So
we'll keep you guys posted on that. We'll figure it out. Obviously, quickly. We need to figure it out quickly.
That's why I said we should have had ours. We should have had ours up already scheduled, but I thought Karen was going to do it, and I didn't do it, so it isn't up there yet. But the plan is tomorrow at 10 if everything goes straight. And whenever you guys have yours, I'm sure you'll post it in your Discord. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
I think it'd be a fun experiment to do it at Christmas at about 10 p.m. and see if people are just done with Christmas and
It might.
I won't. I can't do it. I don't know. I wouldn't be there, so I don't know if people would or not.
Yeah.
I think most people are.
Or people that don't celebrate Christmas.
Well, yeah, that's true. There are people, not everybody celebrates it, but I know I can't.
Yeah.
I can't stream on Christmas and Christmas Eve. It's too hectic.
So. Christmas Eve. I think Christmas Eve would be even worse.
It probably is.
Yeah.
I don't know. The only appointment I have between those two is on Christmas Day. I will be watching Doctor Who when it comes out live. That's the only thing I can say. When it comes on Disney Plus, I will be watching, as I do every Christmas. But that's neither here nor there.
I have to finish watching Last Christmas, which I find hilarious in unintentional ways.
Is that a movie called? What is it? Last Christmas?
Yeah. It's basically taking a song and just basically literally taking a song and going lyric to lyric and making a movie about it.
Oh, okay.
And it's funny. It's a comedy, and it has Emma Thompson in it, and Michelle Yeoh, and the girl, the one girl from Game of Thrones. She's the lead, and it's
Okay.
great. But it's also unintentionally funny as well. It's a rom-com, and it's actually a funny rom-com, but it's unintentionally funny as well. And you'll know the twist when it hits you, and you'll be like, "Well, that's kind of unintentionally funny in a different way."
Oh,
Highly recommended
is
by
that
me.
that isn't the one where she's dying last Christmas? You said about the one from Game of Thrones. There's a Christmas movie that the one girl from Game of Thrones is in.
Mm-hmm. She's not dying though in it.
Spoiler. Well, the one I'm talking about, she's supposed to be. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I thought that was called
maybe
Last
there is
Christmas.
two. I mean, that's kind
It
of
might have a
name that
different
could be-
title. I thought it was called Last Christmas. I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, it's truly Last Christmas then.
Yeah.
I think
Yes,
they meant
Amelia
Last
Clark.
Christmas
Yeah.
like the year before, not the Last Christmas like this is it.
No. I thought it was called that. It may be called something completely different, but yes, it's Amelia Clark.
Yeah.
I think is the one that's in it. But I
Yeah.
assumed that was the title of it. But I don't think it's a comedy, the one I'm talking about. So I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, this
so.
one's definitely a comedy. There's jokes in it.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
And intentional ones.
Yeah. Let's
That's
see.
funny.
Well, I'm glad you're watching Doctor Who. I never thought, I didn't even think about that. We just say, we're talking about Dune and Silo. We may not want to skip the one that's the week of New Year's Eve because we'll want to talk about Doctor Who. I hadn't even thought about that. It's 'cause we're not used to it being on because it hasn't been for a while. But yeah, because we cover Doctor Who too, definitely. Before it was just me and Karen, but we finally got AJ into watching it too. So now you guys need to watch Doctor Who. It's a good show. Nothing like From, but it's a good show.
And watch it. I'll watch it from the 1950s on right now.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but the new series is good. I haven't watched all the classics yet, so
yeah,
I can't really comment on that. But the new ones, anyway, we're getting completely off topic here. Is there any? I don't know if there's anything else about this episode though. We're really. You guys have any more comments about From? Put them in the chat. We'll talk about it. We're running out of things to say.
Well, there were a couple things, like smaller things, like I had in my notes about Julie, just certain comments that were made that I think hold more significance now, and it might just be happy accidents, as Jack Bender has said in interviews, or just happy accidents. But I like pointing out certain things, like when they're talking about Katri and Jim and Tabitha are talking about going to look at the house in town. Julie's sitting at the table with them, and she says she should be included. She should go with them because she says this is about all of us, and it really is it is about all of them. She's going to end up having a huge role in the story. We just didn't know it yet. And then at the very end of the episode, in the montage where they're about to read a story to Ethan, he says, "Is Julie ever coming back?" And Tabitha says, "Of course, yeah. You can go see her anytime." They start reading the story, and like we said before, they start at the beginning instead of chapter 3. So it's like the start of their chronological story, and apparently Julie has a role to play too that we didn't even know yet. Like, it's just interesting to look back now and see that, at the time it didn't seem like she was going to be that relevant, but this story is about all of them. They're at the center of it all. She has a central role to play. Jim had a central role to play. I mean, it didn't seem like it. He seemed like he was pretty much useless to the plot in season 3, but he's the one who cracked the code of the music notes. So
yeah, he had a really important part. Right.
They all have a role to play, and Ethan is the one who kind of holds the key and knows how the whole story walking thing works. So it's just cool how, just looking back now, knowing how important each of them are. Like, each of them have a role to play in the story. Just like Julie said, this is about all of us, and it's like the beginning of their chronological story, the whole thing. Just like they're reading the book from the beginning.
They should have included her, but they didn't.
Yeah.
That's why I wonder if the whole thing, like you said, Jim, it was funny Jim accepted it. It kind of was, but at the same time, maybe he realized what she was doing. I mean, it's like the more they argued with her, the worse it would have been, like, okay, she's going to go live there. Like I said, I still think she could change her mind. I don't think that anybody would stop her, but you know, the more they push her away and try to force her to do that, she'll be less and less at their house, So it's like, just let her be a teenager and quit trying to force her because it's not helping anything.
Yeah, yeah. It's just crazy though, not to fight harder. Like they should have both been fighting harder to keep her there. After, I mean, seeing with their own eyes what's going on in that house, that's wild. But
Well, I don't think they were supposed to have seen what was going on in the next room, but yeah, I would think that they had to have an idea maybe. But
yeah,
do you guys think, okay, let's see. Do you guys, AA says, do you guys think the houses are actually built, or do you think they just appear in there from the same way they just collapse? Okay, I'm guessing you mean more like as of the show, not the way they're made. You mean like, did they just show up? I mean, some of the people, they could have built them. I mean, obviously I'm gonna assume that they were there when Victor got there, so they've been there from the beginning. But I think it's very possible some of the things just show up, just like we kind of talked earlier about the animals showing up. And
yeah,
is there a reason? Are they provided? I mean, I sometimes wonder, especially because of the fact that like we have a hotel sign, no hotel, we have just the post office, school, weird things, that maybe they were even just pulled in from some pocket dimension or parallel dimension or something, and they're just like ripped from someplace. So yeah, were they actually literally built there? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not.
yeah. Yeah, it could have just been manifested there. Like, who knows how this works, how any of this works? Because if this place is as old as it seems, like as old as the Puritan visions, then obviously the houses they weren't there since the Puritan time. So like they came from somewhere. I guess people who showed up there could have built them over time. That's possible, or they could have been manifested there. It's interesting to think about because they're all different. Like the houses are different in age clearly than Colony House. It looks a lot older, and then the church looks even older than that too.
Yeah, they're kind of a mishmash of things. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many. I mean, there's so many things we don't know. I just, it worries me that some of those things, because we don't have tons of episodes left, and we're like are on the whatever we'll call past the halfway point. I just worry that some of those things are never going to be answered because they just don't have time to answer everything, and they just will like not bother, and then
Yeah.
we'll like still asking.
Yeah, I made a list. I'm trying to compile a list of all of the unanswered questions, and it's very long.
I'm
It's
sure.
extremely long.
And look,
But-
I'm not saying that I expect them to answer 100% of the questions. I mean, that's never going to happen. They're never going to answer everybody's questions. But I just mean there's a lot of questions that are like big questions that a lot of people have that I worry they're not going to answer, because there's certain things that in the scheme of things, do we really need to know? Like if we find out what happens to the group of people, like if they stop, assuming they stop this cycle of what's been going on, they save the children, whatever, like things like, where's the hotel? Is that something that we really need to know? No, but like, I want to know, why is there a hotel sign and no hotel? Like they're those kind of questions that I have a feeling are just, we're never going to find out. And that's
Right. Yeah. Like certain things I don't think they're ever going to answer. And I'm okay with that. They don't have to answer or explain everything. Just the biggest things I would like an explanation for. I would like to know.
even
I'm
if they just
satisfied.
publish a show Bible, like just tell us.
Yeah.
You're going to have it on air. We just want to know.
Right. Like what dragged the tent? I think it was whatever invisible force collapsed the house. I think it was the same thing that dragged the tent. But are they ever going to tell us that? I don't know how they would. If that's the truth, I don't know how they would actually tell us that. So we may have to try to just read between the lines in certain cases. They
Yeah,
might not
and
explain it.
that's why I hope that maybe when it is done, like if they don't answer things, we'll have to try to get another have the writers on again, and at least come on the show and like answer all our questions. Tell us this, we want to know. If you're not going to tell us on TV, answer it, damn it.
Yeah, I'm somebody that I like to have the answers provided. I don't like to have to read into things, and I hate open endings. That's the worst thing ever, just to have a show with an open ending that you have to interpret yourself. I don't like that. I
Yeah.
want them to explain it. This is what it is, period. And it looks like we already got some huge answers already, so that's reassuring to me. I don't need them to explain every little thing.
Right, but the big things we need. But that's why I'm saying, like, there's going to be some things they don't, which stinks. But I mean, that's knowing there's going to be some. That's every show. That's nothing abnormal. But I just worry there's going to be big questions we're not going to get answered, and that will like not be cool if that happens. But hopefully, if it's not on air, they'll at least tell us. And that's why I think that they should continue the ARG, because they could use it to tell some of, because that's kind of what they did with Lost. And I know you haven't, well, you haven't seen it all, but you haven't played the ARG either. But like they
No.
used it to tell, I don't know if you're to the point of Dharma yet that you even know what that is, but they
Yeah, I
used,
do.
okay, well the ARG like tells the whole like Dharma story and how that kind of stuff happened and what happened. And like it's not stuff that you necessarily have to know for the show to make sense, but
Right.
it went into deeper detail about a lot of that scientific stuff and that kind of, yeah, like it explained a lot of that and how that came to be and everything. And that's the kind of thing that I think that they could really use the ARG to its fullest potential. Like if you're not going to tell all these things, like give us this backstory, like how, you know, about the monsters or whatever, these things that we may never need to know in the show for it to make sense, but that people still want to know. And it's another way to do it. Well, I didn't say what it was. I just said it's the same, spoiler alert. I just said it explains about Dharma. I didn't say what it was or where it came from. But yeah, I just think that they could have a whole, you know, little web series ARG thing that people could figure out the rest that's going on.
Sure. Yeah, I would
It could
love.
be all the burning questions people have that are kind of irrelevant, but that we still want to know, right?
Yeah, I think that would be terrific if they do that. I would love it. Like, just give us some bonus material at least by the end of the series, just to kind of fill in some gaps, explain some things that would be really cool to see. But yeah, because there's a lot. There's a lot. I'm happy with the answers we got in season 3. If they gave us too many more big ones, then that would kind of ruin the fun of the mystery. So I'm glad they didn't answer any more of the really big ones yet. The tent pulling, I think, is one of the things that frustrates people the most. The dragging of the tent. People saying like, okay, maybe Julie did it, but Julie's not strong enough, so maybe it was Julie, Mariel, and Randall together. Are they all, because they were all in the dungeon state together? So like, are they strong enough to have dragged the tent? I don't know. I think if an invisible force can crush a house, it can pull a tent too. And it may not be an exciting answer. It's kind of a boring answer, but to me, it makes sense. I'd be fine with that. You know.
Yeah, well, I just want them to tell us one way or another what the things are, but I don't care how we get the answers, just so somehow we do, whether it's them, you know, like answering it in an interview or putting it in the show or making an ARG or writing a book after. I don't care. I just want to know.
Me too.
Then that's good enough. Yeah, but it would be cool if we got a spin-off. I mean, I don't know that that's going to happen, but it would be cool if we did. We're talking
Yeah.
about the Dieter's talking about how it all existed, the first curse or the sacrifice. I'm just reading what I said because I'm thinking about that. Like I think that, I mean, I kind of tend to think that the town became what it became after the people were cursed with immortality. Like I think that sort of created the town. I know that hasn't been established, but I tend to think that it was like the normal town until that happened. Personally,
Yeah.
I don't know if you think that.
Too.
I was gonna say I didn't know if you did or not, but that's kind of how I feel. The
Yeah,
lights.
I don't think they were trapped there already. I think it was a normal town, because if you're trapped in a town already and you
You
can't
have
get
no
out,
reason to want to be immortal. Well, I mean, unless it's to fight. Yeah, but there'd be no reason to like want to be immortal to get to live past the monsters because they are the monsters. So yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So I think they got trapped, and maybe somehow this town got cut off from like the rest of the world. It got, put into a pocket dimension or something like that. That's the way I think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah, AA agrees too. It's a normal town before the sacrifice. It would be cool. And again, this is where like I know they don't have a lot of space for these kind of things because they don't have tons of episodes left. But it would be cool to see just like sort of a prequel episode, even maybe. Like we already, and that's kind of my point. Like we already know, if that's the case, we already know how the monsters came to be now. But I still wouldn't mind seeing like a prequel episode that like showed that happening, that showed them wanting to be immortal, making the sacrifice, and how it became the town. Like they could devote a whole episode to that, but that could also take a lot of the main story away that we don't like. It's not something we need to know, but it's something we want to see. And that's kind of my point, where there's so many things I think that are going to have to be cut if they only have 20 episodes left.
Oh yeah, definitely. I still would love to get 6 seasons, but I think it's more likely we're going to get 5. So
Yeah. CT5, and that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like when somebody, I'm sorry, I don't even remember now who asked about did the where the house is built or not, and that's kind of what I was getting at. Like maybe they were brought from somewhere, and that's why there's like, a hotel sign and a hotel. Like it only pulled part of it in. Something.
yeah, that's why what I kind of think too. Like maybe that's why it's incomplete. And also, there's a lighthouse, but they've never shown any ocean on camera in any of the scenes.
Drawings.
Never showed it. So imagine maybe they pulled in the lighthouse, this dimension. I mean, pulled in a lighthouse, but no water, and there's a motel sign, but no motel.
Yeah. So Dieter's saying the town may have been created by someone's dream, and it's talking about what Tony said. The electricity cables do not have inside wiring. That's stuff you don't see in dreams.
Yep.
I agree, and that was kind of my reasoning behind why I thought it was like in someone's head, like Victor created it or something from his mind because it wasn't complete. But obviously that I don't think that's the case now. But that was originally my reasoning because of the whole electricity and everything. But yeah, I wonder, because they did say they're not dreaming. We go back to, can it still be like come from a dream without them be dreaming? Because
Possible.
I do think it's supposed. I mean, we know from what they've said that whatever's happening is supposed to really be happening.
Right.
But I don't know. To me anymore, if they hadn't said that, I would be thinking that they were in some kind of dream or nightmare, just because of how many times they reference it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's possible that like somebody's, I don't know. I mean, maybe somebody has like some kind of powers, and their nightmare or their dream was like brought into the real world or something. And
yeah.
or
No,
they, I mean, we know this place can manifest things, so it could be manifested from people's darkest nightmares and, biggest fears, whatever.
That's what I think. Yeah, I think the manifestation thing is going on, and yeah, it could be manifested from people's fears and emotions, thoughts, things like that. But it's a real physical place. They're not actually asleep. All of the references to nightmares have to mean something. The word nightmare, the word dream, it said so many
Even the
times.
creatures in the credits are called nightmare creatures.
Exactly.
And
it's got to be relevant.
Yeah, and CT5, I think it's the Mandela effect. It's the same thing. Everybody thinks they've seen Donna's sister get killed. I think you just think that. I don't remember a river. I don't know. Although I didn't even think there was a foghorn sound. I don't remember either. So I'm not really the person to ask.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, because she just described it in such vivid detail with all that exposition that some people thought that they saw her sister get her face ripped off.
Yeah, which we didn't. She just did a good job with the scene, and they wrote it well too.
Oh yeah, graphic detail.
I don't know. There's just so many things, like you talk about. Can it be coming from a nightmare, a dream, whatever? There's also so many things that seem like it could be from, like one of Ethan's stories or something, which we've kind of touched on. I don't know. I just hope whatever it is, I hope that they give a solid answer and that it's satisfactory. But I don't know. People sometimes get too mad when the answers don't match what they want them to be. Like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of always like, in the end, not everybody's going to be happy, and it's the writer's story, and they're going to tell it how they want to tell it. And I don't think like, if you don't like it, like, that's fine, but it's still their story. They have a right to end it however they want. I just hope that it's explanatory.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, it's their story to do what they want with it. I'm not gonna be upset if like I don't the answers, or if I'm wrong about a lot of things or something. And, you know, it's more fun to just be surprised. The only thing that would
Right.
make me upset is if they are just dead the whole time and they just said it's not
And
purgatory.
they lied. Then we'd be mad. But yeah, it's just people sometimes, fans, like, think that they're owed something. You know,
wasn't that, I didn't watch Lost, but isn't that like how Lost
they are
kind of got
not.
not so good because they were like
They were not dead the whole time. If you think they
no,
were dead
I
the
mean
whole time, you did not
not
understand
that,
it.
Jamie, but just the fan service. Like they were
Oh.
trying to do fan service.
I don't think. I mean, granted, I don't know. I don't want to speak for them, but I don't think
Yeah.
it's that they were trying to do fan service. I think it's the fact that, hold on one second, my blanket fell. I think that there were too many. Like, there were so many fans that were so invested in it. That's why I enjoyed watching the documentary thing. I think that everybody was so invested in it that, like I said, I think that a lot of people feel like it's their show and they're owed something.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't. I mean, I personally am like, you know, it's their show. Like, they have a right to end it however they want to end it. I don't know that they changed things for the fans. I don't think that they did, but because, like, they were saying how a lot of times, like, they'd already had things written, like when people were complaining about Nikki and Paul and stuff, like, they had already had the death written. And so yeah, I don't know, but I think that no matter what you do, not everybody's going to be happy, and when it means that much to that many people, that a lot of people take it a little too, they get too upset over it. So, but yeah, but they were not dead the whole time. That's all I would say to people, because you still see people saying that. Like, people don't believe it. I don't know. I don't know if they just didn't understand it, or people never watched the end and they just say that. I don't know. But so yes, I agree with you, Julie. If they lied to us and it turned out that, you know, it was a dream and they completely lied, then yes, that I would be mad about, just because they said it wasn't. But but otherwise,
yeah, otherwise I'd be happy with whatever happens. And I think, honestly, like, they've already kind of given us the framework for the origin story already, and I don't think they're gonna turn it around and have it be something that undermines all of this story that we were just given. They're not going to have it be a simulation at this point. I don't think. I mean, it still could be, but
I don't think so either. I mean, I've said before, I could be okay with the simulation, depending how it's written. Like, it's not what I want. I mean, I just want it to be. I think people want it to be that it really happened, I think is the gist of it. But even if it's like somehow they were pulled into a simulation or something, but it's still real, as long as it's like it really is happening to the people, then it's okay. But yeah, exactly what Dieter's saying. As long as the story's good, the ending is not mysterious, I'm going to be happy. And that's like what I mean. Like, whatever they choose to do with the ending is up to the writers, and I can accept it. I just want it to make sense and them to answer the biggest questions. I'd like them to answer most of the questions. It probably won't happen, but just so it's not, like you said, an ambiguous ending. If an ending's too ambiguous, it can ruin it. Like, I know there's sometimes, like, when you watch a movie and I'll be like, I love the movie except for the last 5 minutes. Like, they totally ruined it because they didn't they didn't end it. And there's nothing worse than that. Like, you don't have to necessarily agree with it, but at least make it worth our while, you know?
absolutely.
And thank you, Dieter. Yes, we are. I was going to say, we're almost at 2 a.m. I think we're planning to probably pretty soon wrap it up. But thank you, everybody, for coming. Please, take a minute, like, subscribe, check out Julie's channel, which is in the description, and Discord, which should still be, nope, is not still copied. I got to recopy the link. why I'm doing that. And like I said, we will see. You got to every time make a new damn invite link. It's really annoying. Hold on, let me copy it. But like I said, as far as I know, tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern will be our show with Silo and Dune. But if it is, you'll see when it goes on the schedule. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be tomorrow night. Well, tonight. Now it's tonight because it's already 2 a.m. So it's technically tonight because we're not going to have it Christmas Eve. But and then our watch party will be Rewatch watch party will be Saturday at 8 p.m. in the Discord. And then, Sunday, the three of us will be, I'm assuming, unless you guys for some reason aren't going to be here, that the three of us will be back next Sunday. Yeah. I was going to say, I think they're talking to you in the chat.
Yeah.
Amy's been trying to talk to you. But yeah, I don't know. Is there any more big From things we need to talk about before we wrap up? Because I know it's getting late. Unless you guys have anything else. What is Silo about? Silo is about people underground in a silo, basically, right?
Very easy.
Yeah, that's basically no. It's got a mystery in it. It's if you like From, I think I mean it's not From. It's not. I don't think it's as good as From, but I like it. It's a good story. But yeah, we're talking about that tomorrow. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else we want to talk about before we ready to wrap? I always feel bad because we get more people as it gets later, but I know you guys are different time zones than us.
Yeah.
We're Eastern. We need some sleep.
Yeah, different time zones join in. That always happens.
Yeah. No, it seems like we get the majority of the people when it gets later, and it's like I don't want to go, but I need sleep.
Yeah. True.
Story of my life.
Yeah.
I think we pretty much covered all the important stuff.
Yeah, I think we did for this episode, but it's nice to talk. But I know, like I said, I got a lot to do getting ready for. I still got to wrap a lot yet. So yeah, stay up all night, but it's been fun. I guess I won't talk. Well, I don't know if I'll talk to you guys on Discord before then or not. But if I don't, have a happy holidays, everybody. And
Yeah, you too, and everybody in the chat.
Yep.
Yeah, you too, Jamie.
Everybody, have a good holiday, and hopefully we'll see you soon. And I'm sure, like I said, Saturday probably a lot of us will be doing the watch party anyway, watching the episodes. So
yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's it. But yeah, everybody, please take time to like and subscribe, and like I said, check out Julie's stream as well, and you can find all of our previous episode breakdowns that we've done on here on our live tab on Sci-Fi Vision. So all right, well, I guess that's it because it's 2. So have a good night, guys.
Have a good night. Have a nice holiday.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Merry Yuletide, everyone.